The number of people continuing to receive benefits declined, but still was more than predicted at 12.5 million. Ginny Cosola, Fox News.
Despite the pandemic and concerns over the economy, demand for new homes continues to surge. The Commerce Department says sales of new homes rose last month by 4.8%. The spread of COVID-19 this spring slowed sales, but not demand. It says the pace picked back up over the summer, driving home prices to record highs in some places, and record low mortgage rates are also driving sales. Facebook set to launch its oversight.
The chimpanzee spends most of its day in the jungle, carelessly swinging from tree to tree and picking mites off itself, instead of building shelter and teaching itself how to read. This chimp is named Bolo, and researchers at Duke University have shown that he can solve three-dimensional logic puzzles, an impressive feat indeed, until you learn that human children as young as 3 are also able to solve the puzzle. Even a mentally handicapped human is capable of verbal speech, something no chimpanzee has ever been able to accomplish, despite working vocal cords capable of howling in irritation after soiling itself. Chimps have been observed using tools, but their tools are little more than sticks. Even driving and preparing pancakes, tasks we leave to the stupidest, least educated humans, lay beyond the capabilities of the chimp.
This is the Onion News Network.
California is reeling from Super Rainbow Percival, which left a trail of devastation along the West Coast. A luminous band of destruction touched down in Santa Barbara. Percival set a record as the most powerful rainbow in U.S. history, with at least 30 confirmed fatalities and damage estimates in the billions. The vividly saturated colors seared through homes and roads, charring everything in its path. Those exposed to the rainbow's fury say they're lucky to be alive.
The sky was completely blue. All of a sudden, it's filled with brilliant hues of red and indigo.
All I can say is when I was a kid, rainbows didn't cut people in half.
Meteorologists say that Percival is just the latest in a pattern of increasingly dangerous rainbows, and that they're only growing stronger as global temperatures rise. Percival also comes on the heels of some extreme weather phenomena overseas. Authorities in the Philippines are still searching for thousands in the aftermath of mega sunset Wilma.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything that you want. Our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. It's Ian here.
And nobody.
Yeah, of course, you can take control of the airwaves with us. Well, things have gone from bad to worse when it comes to mask mandates here in the so-called live free or die state. We know that there have definitely been some really bad news coming from around the United States. I've got a headline and video of a woman in Ohio who was tased for not wearing a mask at a football game.
Oh, yeah, that was pretty horrific.
Yep, so that happened. And, of course, she's not the only person who's been arrested for this. But now... Yeah.
How long is it going to be before somebody dies because they weren't wearing a mask? And are we going to go out and do maskless lives matter when that happens?
That's a great question. It probably won't be too long, given how violent the system is and how insane it has become. And now it is even worse than before. Earlier this week, we told you about the possibility that the Nashua, New Hampshire City Council could be voting or would be voting on a more stringent, more extreme mask mandate, because they already were, I believe, the first city in New Hampshire to pass a mask mandate, which I believe holds up to a $1,000 fine for an individual who is found not wearing a mask when in and or around a business. I don't know if it's required on the streets. I have not read the ordinance myself. But it is now worse, with Nashua government aldermen voting 13-2 on Tuesday night to support a proposal to prohibit businesses from serving patrons who are not wearing face masks.
Wow. Now, does that have a medical exception?
I have not read the actual ordinance. I I mean, I guess I wouldn't be surprised at this point if it didn't, but I would expect it does.
I would be surprised if it didn't, just because it would run afoul of the Americans with Disabilities Act.
Yeah. Well, it's also running afoul of the fact that New Hampshire local community governments are not home rule, meaning that they aren't authorized to pass things unless the state authorizes them specifically to pass certain rules. And the state has not authorized, the state legislature has not authorized these sorts of these ordinances. But yet
there's no enabling ordinance. There isn't something vague like the governor used.
Oh, I suspect they'll claim something vague, but they're not supposed to be able to do something unless it specifically authorizes them to do the thing. That's one of the points that we make in our lawsuit that me and Aria and the owner of local Fakin Great Restaurant have filed in federal court, is that there is no statutory authority for the state or the town governments to be passing these things. But here's what the amended mask mandate
So if
states.
you win your case, then Nashua wins by default.
Wins?
Well, Nashua in the people of Nashua, not the city of Nashua.
Oh, well, I mean, by all evidence, the people of Nashua appear to want to be told what to do, too, just like so many other people. Well, not all of them, but most of them are doing what they're told. So all the evidence suggests that most people are willing to just be told what to do, and they'll do it. And now the amended mask mandate, the one that just passed, says, quote, "No business and no employee of any business shall provide goods or services to any person not complying with face covering requirements." Further, it says no business and no employee of any business shall permit a person to remain on its premises in violation of these requirements.
It's irritating the way they word that, because normally you say somebody may do something or they may not do something. If you say you shall go far, son, that's a prediction. That's not it's not in the imperative.
Well, it seems pretty clear that if you are found providing services or goods now in the city of Nashua to anyone not wearing a mask, you will be subject to up to $1,000 fine. You, the employee, if you are just a teenage kid working the counter at the gas station and somebody wants to just buy, they're thirsty, they want to buy a bottle of water, and they don't have a mask on, you will face up to $1,000 fine if you sell it to them. In fact,
is that
you'll face
true
up to
even if you
$1,000.
go outside and sell it to them?
Any employee of any business shall not provide.
Shall not provide. So it doesn't say anything about providing indoors.
Correct.
Okay.
Period. Anywhere at all. And not only shall they not provide it to you, they are not allowed to allow you to remain on the premises. So they have to tell you to leave. They have to order you off the premises and threaten you with trespass to get you to leave.
Wow.
That's how bad it's gotten.
I wonder.
A true second-class person at this point.
Can they require alacrity with that?
Define that?
Well, alacrity is speed or timeliness, and so the question is, hey, if you don't get out of here in 3 hours, I'm going to call the police. If you're not out of here by the time I count to 36,000 minutes, you're out. The police will be called. But I mean, we'll give you time to finish up what you're doing, but the police will be called.
But that's the thing. They can't give you time to finish up what you're doing because they can't let you check out. So you cannot purchase things if you don't have a mask on in Nashua. So if they are caught allowing you to purchase something, that will be a fine, and that the police are going to send sting operatives in.
Right, and so what you're going to need to do if you find yourself maskless is you're going to need to make a straw man purchase of like a soda pop or something. Send somebody else, maybe
send
give
a
him
homeless
$1.
guy in.
Yeah, send a homeless guy in like you used to do for alcohol when you were a kid, I used to do.
Sure, I think almost everyone's done that one once. But no, this is not okay. And this is not good. This is really scary. This is really bad.
This is not okay. So the agorist side of my head is going, okay, this is how you make money off this. And the libertarian side of my head is just going, oh my God, they can't do that.
And they are doing it.
And the ANCAP side is just going, they're just a bunch of criminals. They're going to do what they want. Don't get caught.
Let's go to Larry in Indiana. Larry, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
Hey, I told you what it was coming to. It's so arbitrary that they would take and fine some clerk that makes $7.25 an hour, $1,000 that he can't pay, but they'll have a judgment on him to follow him the rest of his life.
Yeah, $1,000 for a teenage store clerk is like a month's worth of pay.
Right.
That's going to dog him, keep his credit score down, and everything else if he uses it. But let me tell you what, the Breonna Taylor case. Now, this is a situation where her boyfriend used her as a human shield so he wouldn't get shot. That's what he done. She knew she was in his apartment. Hey, I've been here in Indianapolis for a long time, and you guys know I'm colored, right? But I've seen it when the crack stuff came out and all the dope boys with the cars and stuff, they had girls like that where they would hang out, have their phone address there, that sell dope. They got pictures of them both dealing crack in the crack house. Now, why would you get some neighbor community to come and back up some person who was selling poison to your kids and corrupting your neighborhood and act like this is such a big thing when he was nothing but a crack dealer?
Well, just because somebody is selling crack doesn't mean that they deserve to die by the police's hands.
But what are you going to do if you're a policeman? If you're a policeman and you do a knock, they knocked on the door, right? And then you go in and somebody's shooting at you. What are you going to do?
If I were a policeman, I wouldn't be there in the first place because I would refuse to enforce. I would refuse to enforce bad laws if I were a cop, and no, I wouldn't be a cop either. Huh?
But we need that in our society.
Well,
because that keeps
we don't need cops busting people for crack or any other drugs, for that matter.
Can I ask you something, sir?
You just did. Now ask another one.
Okay. Do you? I wanted to have his attention because do you know that there are drugs? You can get drugs in prison, right? Okay. So how? It seems like there is absolutely no way to make it impossible for people to get drugs on the street, when even in a high security zone like a prison, you can't keep the drugs out unless you're going to lock your city down tighter than a prison.
Well, you know, when somebody gets caught dealing dope, if he gets a bullet in his head, that's his problem. Because of the fact that what he was doing. So
if we can keep this caller, I'd love to give him a counter suggestion.
Stand
on the way
by,
back.
Larry. We will continue if you want to hang on. We'll bring you back here, 855-450 free. If you want to join us, and I did actually have a story about this Breonna Taylor situation. The police have not been charged, and people are hitting the streets in protest. There's more coming up here. It's Free Talk Live.
Maxwell, he was a runaway to rescue great disposition. About 9 years ago, he was scratching a lot, and he started losing some hair. My vet, she says, oh, he must be allergic to the chicken. Another vet said, it's the grain. Third vet, she says it's the weather, something in the air. And then somebody said, DINOVITE.com. I had been listening to the Dynavite ads, hearing about different stories of different people, and it just clicked. I got my first 90-day supply, and it took a grand total of 2 weeks. The dog stopped itching, the hair stopped falling out.
Dynavite is nutrition.
And Maxwell loves it. Now he's close to 10. And the Dynavite is a big part of Maxwell's diet.
Dynavite for life. You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
And he's a spectacular dog.
DINOVITE.com.
Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to divvyproject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from divvyproject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. divvyproject.org. DIVI project.org.
News from news.bitcoin.com. Despite years of warnings about cryptocurrency, criminals prefer U.S. dollars for money laundering, study shows. Jim Rogers predicts end of U.S. dollar dominance. Macro strategist Raul Paul says Bitcoin beats gold in every way. New crypto, sushi, plummets around rumors of exit scam. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com.
Excuse me, is this where I get a license to start a new business?
I wouldn't be hasty. You have to get a license to go out of business, too, you know.
Oh, well, look, I've invented this little anti-gravity machine, see?
Oh, is that why you're walking 2 inches above the floor?
Oh, yes, it's very comfortable. It saves on shoe leather.
Yeah, well, you have to fill out these forms and report to the Human Services Department of Manpower Orientation and register with the Fair Employment Practice Commission, the Wage and Hour Division of the Employment Standards Administration, the State Sales and Income Tax Division, the Internal Revenue Service, and the Social Security Administration of the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, and, of course, OSHA.
OSHA? I thought that was a little town in Wisconsin.
You'll find out. Say, floating around like that could be dangerous. Have you checked with the Consumer Product Safety Commission?
Well, not yet.
Come to think of it, you actually are flying, aren't you? Look, you need to go over to the Federal Aviation Administration and the Transportation...
It's very hard to get anything done these days if you're in business, but free enterprise built this country. Think what could happen if we don't keep it free. A public service of this station and the Center for the Defense of Free Enterprise, Bellevue, Washington.
Besides, we just can't have people floating about unregulated, you know.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. Do you have a WordPress website running WooCommerce and want to accept cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Dash, Bitcoin Cash, and Bitcoin SV? Now you can easily enable crypto payments from your customers by adding the AnyPay plugin to your WordPress site. Just visit AnyPayInc.com and set up your account by entering your cryptocurrency wallet addresses in the admin. Then enable the AnyPay plugin in your WooCommerce. That's it. Now your website takes crypto like Bitcoin thanks to AnyPayInc.com. AnyPayInc.com.
Live video of our Keene, New Hampshire-based shows is streamed on DLive. Please follow and share at dlive.lrn.fm. That's dlive.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything you want here. All you got to do, dial in toll-free with us and talk about whatever's on your mind. The number's 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can also connect to our Matrix chat server and get the instructions on how to do that over at chat.lrn.fm. You can call us that way, and then you'll sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us. It's Ian with you tonight.
And nobody.
And I want to say thanks to Bitcoin.com for being longtime sponsors here on Free Talk Live. If you haven't taken the time yet to go and learn the basics about Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, and cryptocurrency in general, Bitcoin.com's got you covered. Head on over there, use their Getting Started or Get Started area, and watch a 2 or 3 minute long video and get the basics on how Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash work. It's pretty interesting stuff, and it's high time that you take the time to learn. It doesn't take a whole lot. There is a learning curve to some extent to get into crypto, but it's easier now than it's ever been. You just got to spend a little bit of time and learn some of the basic concepts, and they can help you with that over at Bitcoin.com. If you're not brand new and you want to get the latest news headlines, they've got a news site as well. It's news.bitcoin.com. We still have Larry on the line in Indiana. Nobody, you wanted to keep Larry on to continue the discussion. He seems like he doesn't care if the cops shoot somebody to death who was selling crack cocaine.
Well, I guess the first thing I wanted to say is there's a number of issues with black markets, and the last thing we were saying, and I think you agreed with me, Larry, is that there was no way to really prevent these things from being available. You can make it more difficult, and you can maybe discourage one guy from being in the business, but you know, if a town becomes completely dry, some random junkie is going to say, well, I got to have this stuff and I'm going to go find it. So would you agree with me there?
I agree with all of that, but you know what? If you have some person out there that's doing black market work and he gets his brains blown out, why should people riot and hold him up and as some hero or something? And when he gets his brains blew out, which he deserves, and have riots and tear up people's businesses.
Well, first off, if do you think that addicts in general deserve to die?
Yes, they do. They do.
Wow, that's sick.
They deserve to die. You know why? Because they can make a choice. If they want to go ahead and do that, if they were somewhere where they couldn't get it, they wouldn't do it. So it's impairment. It's not a disease.
Well, what if somebody was depressed, for like severely depressed, like suicidally depressed? They had a really hard time operating. Would you say that person should die?
That's what they should die. Yeah.
Yeah, you're dealing with someone who apparently has no compassion whatsoever for people that are different in different circumstances.
Telling the truth, yeah, because they're trying to force dope on the black
No.
community.
I'm saying if somebody's just depressed, and they can't work and they're having a hard time and they're just useless, should they?
The help that he wants, so he can commit suicide. So what?
Okay. Huh.
Yeah. So what?
That's interesting.
You can't stop somebody from killing themselves.
Okay. Well, and in general, I agree with you that people have a right to commit suicide.
You can sympathize and slobber over them if you want to, but if they're going to kill themselves, there's nothing you can do about it. If there's help available for them and they want to sit around like a zombie, and rather than facing the vicissitudes of life and moving on, let them go ahead and sit around with a belly full of dope. I'm sure some doctor will give it to them. So that's what they deserve.
Okay.
Something to deserve.
Interesting.
So the dope dealers, if they kill them, it's fine with me.
So if they had like a purge, would if they turned the law off for a night and said you can do whatever you want, you can rob, rape, murder, whatever you want, would you actually go after these people? Do you want to see them dead?
I'm not going to do anything to them. It's
you
not
wouldn't.
my position that I'm going to do anything to it, because everybody has control over himself, or supposed to have some modicum of self-preservation built in. But when you don't have self-preservation, then if you want to commit suicide, there's nothing you can do about it or anybody else can do about it. So it's not an issue. We should concentrate on people that are working, trying to do something, trying to move our process here in America forward, and not sit around slobbering on people when they come selling the sad story. Which the black community is facing that right now on Radio 1 spitting out, hey, black man, you're depressed. You need to come and get a belly full of dope. And once you get the belly full of dope and the diagnosis, you can't get a job, right? So a lot of our young men are walking around slobbering, looking stupid. Oh, he got that. Take his meds. Give him $5,000 worth of meds a month. Don't give him a job for $2,500, right? That's where it's going to.
Okay. So if you wouldn't take action directly to harm somebody who is severely depressed, and maybe they'll snap out of it after a little while. Maybe their wife just died and they're going to be bad off for a couple of years maybe, but they get better. That's better than them dying, wouldn't you say?
That's good for them. How's that going to affect me? That's good for them.
Well, how do they affect you anyway?
Affect you.
I mean, how does somebody getting high on crack affect you at all?
It doesn't affect me at all, but when you see the damage, the devastation that crack has wreaked on the black community, which I have seen from its inception, you'll know why I feel the way I do.
Well, I mean, I've definitely known people who've been addicted to crack cocaine. So, and it's not just black people. There's plenty of white people that are crack addicts as well.
I was a crackhead for 6 months, but I got better.
Yeah, I mean, I don't rejoice in the deaths of my neighbors. Huh?
Let me give you one more example of how the black community was destroyed. You know about jazz, don't you?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Black people were doing fine, but just like rap is the drum beat to murder in our community right now, jazz was the breakdown of our morals and everything back in the 50s and 60s.
You're really going to try to claim jazz was the...
Yeah, the dope came right along with it. So
wow. You sound like a man named Anslinger to me.
With a heroin needle stuck in his arm. And then they're going to build up something like that. It was nothing but an effort to get us off of our plantations and into society where we could be beat down and be full of dope. That's all it was. And Martin Luther King, he was nothing.
And you're going to blame jazz for that.
Drum major for that.
You're going to blame jazz.
Now, they know they getting.
No, he's blaming Martin Luther King now.
He's nothing but nothing but a mass murdering creep. Mass murder.
I must have missed where he was.
You're talking about King, sir?
He destroyed us.
Yeah, that's
what he's doing. I'm talking about Martin Luther King.
Wow. Okay. Can you give me some support for that? Because maybe you know things I don't know.
Okay, blacks had businesses and everything even during the 30s. I read an article in Atlantic magazine. We had our own movie theaters because we were segregated, had our own schools, and we were coming up as a race, right? We needed to be segregated.
So he's pro-segregation and is going to say that.
I've heard this argument. This is.
I don't want to hear it anymore. Thank you, Larry. That's enough time for Larry tonight. Thank you for the call time tonight. I definitely appreciate it. He can call another night, and he will.
Let me give you a slightly different look. This is something that somebody was explaining to me. A friend of mine is black, and he was telling me that before Brown versus Board of Education, there were black schools that were started by black teachers and black principals who wanted to, their passion was to educate black kids and to improve their community. And I can see why they might have not wanted to give their talents to another community, and another community
More coming
wouldn't
up.
accept
Free
them.
Talk Live.
Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you get the rewards. Download the AnyPay Cash Register app and add your cryptocurrency wallet addresses. Then install it at a real-life business and tell us what you did at anypayinc.com. anypayinc.com.
Free Talk Live is aired on nearly 200 radio stations throughout the week, and we've been doing this for almost 18 years. You can call in any evening from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern to talk about whatever's on your mind. Sure, you can waste your time on Facebook and reach dozens of surly posters, or you can call in with your issue and reach 3 surly hosts. Oh, and nearly 500,000 weekly listeners. The number is 1-855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE, as in freedom.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
How many lawyers does it take to change a light bulb? None. They'd rather keep their clients in the dark. There are too many lawyer jokes to count. However, there are some lawyers with more noble intentions. At the Institute for Justice, we bring the light to our clients. We are a non-profit public interest law firm with clear values and principles. At IJ, we fight for those whose most basic rights are denied by the government. Visit our website today at ij.org.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. LRN.FM's free-to-air satellite feeds blanket most of 2 continents. It was my goal to put our channel there so people without internet could receive our programs and feed pirate radio stations. As our contract with our satellite provider is coming up for another 3-year renewal, I have to consider calling it quits. It's rare that we get feedback or support from our satellite users. We started a fundraiser a few years ago, and though there are a bunch of great contributors to it, as of this recording, it covers 15% of our monthly satellite costs. Please email lrn@lrn.fm and tell me how you use the satellite feed. Better yet, chip in at fund.lrn.fm. The costs aren't the issue. We can afford them, but why continue something not valued by the market? Want to help? You can join our satellite fundraiser for just $2 a month at fund.lrn.fm. If we raise enough to keep both channels on the air, awesome. If we raise more, I'll add more channels. If not, we can shut them down and go internet only. It's up to you. Thank you for your support. Fund.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. Dial in, toll free, bring up anything you want. Number here, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. In the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And nobody.
And also want to make sure you know about Intercoin. Just as the internet is a global network that connects local networks, Intercoin is a global currency platform that enables communities around the world to issue and manage their own currency to circulate among their local population. Intercoin enables fintech innovation on the local community level, leading to stronger communities, greater sustainability, less poverty, and more productivity. Intercoin is attempting to regain some of our freedoms that are threatened on the internet and in meat space. We think that's important here on Free Talk Live, so we accepted $40,000 worth of Intercoin tokens from Intercoin Incorporated for advertising. If you think freedom is important too, check out Intercoin at intercoin.org. You can invest in this project and potentially make big gains, or just be involved and perhaps shape its future. Intercoin.org. It's Ian and nobody in the studio. We're going back to your phone calls and thoughts. Kirby is on the line, also in Indianapolis, watching us on YouTube. Go ahead, Kirby.
How you doing, my brother?
Hey, good. What's up, nobody, my guy? How you doing?
All right, good to hear from you.
What's on your mind,
What's
Kirby?
up?
Well, first of all, I can't even get this out. As Bugs Bunny would say, geez, what a maroon, because Larry is cracked. But he's halfway right on a couple of things.
All right.
Breonna Taylor, we'll start with her. She's sleeping in a bed with a guy, taking phone calls from the penitentiary, jail, whatever, from a dope dealer, hollering about, I love you. When he's out, he shows up at her house with small packages, comes out empty-handed, or shows up empty-handed and comes out with small packages.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like a stash house. I can't blame the police for thinking that. But the city gave her parents $12 million, which is a $12 million apology. We screwed the pooch. We were wrong. These folks got nothing to protest about because they did change that no-knock law.
Did they?
Parents did. Yeah, they changed.
What did they change it to?
Now it's knock and announce, which ain't much better, but it's a step in the right direction. And you can't get everything you want as soon as you want it.
Now, when they
Larry,
knock and announce, does that mean that as soon as they announce, they can bust the door down? Or do they have to wait like 30 seconds?
As soon as they bang on your door, they say police, and then hit it with a battering ram.
Okay.
And, you know, like I said, it ain't much better.
Yeah.
But it's a step in the right direction. Believe it or not, I got put out of a hardware store last week for not wearing a mask.
Wow.
I showed the cat my medical exemption. He looks at me in the face and goes, I don't care. Get out. I'm like, cool. Not a problem. Not a problem. But, you know, as far as jazz goes, Larry needs to stick his head in the gas oven and turn on the gas. It's just music. That's what white folks said about Elvis Presley, too.
Oh, yeah. They've been saying that about the old
music
people.
has been destroying the next generation
Forever.
for every generation since Eve.
Yep, and we're still here.
For now.
Yep.
You can't really play music anymore, so that's kind of done.
Who can't?
Well, you
nobody
can't perform
can.
Like live music.
I should say you can't perform the music, at least in most cities legally. They're just, it's not
Can't
happening.
have an audience.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the one live music venue we had downtown here has shut down. They ain't got the 2 tables that you can eat at out front, which is what all the restaurants downtown have done, is put tables out
Outdoors.
front. But in 30 days, it's going to be too cold to sit outside.
Yeah. Oh, well, don't worry. They're already planning really lame-o ways to deal with that here in the Boston area. We're not in Massachusetts, but down in Boston, they are building what they call igloos.
Are they big igloos?
Bubbles. No, I know what you're saying there, nobody. I finally,
now you know.
You've told me that joke so many times.
I know.
But no, we're talking about actual
There's a reason
plastic.
I say that.
Actual plastic encased tables, basically, that people can then sit outdoors even when it's cold outside because they're too afraid to go inside.
Wow.
Well, all I can say is this is the sickest pandemic I've ever heard of.
Yeah. Well, that's what nobody's been asking people. It's like, well, do you know anybody who's sick?
Yeah, that's my activism, basically.
Yeah, I don't know anybody who knows anybody who knows anybody who knows anybody who's been sick. Everybody I've seen who said, oh, I know someone who's sick has been some stranger on Facebook.
Yep.
And half of them look like paid actors.
Yeah, it's the craziest thing I've ever seen. And yeah, the simplest form of activism. How many people do you know that are sick? Well, nobody. Wow. That seems strange during a pandemic, doesn't it? But I don't know any either, now that you mention it.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And it makes them think.
Yeah, and if somebody does know someone else who's sick, I'd like to know if they've died, that person.
Well, I found a couple people who knew a couple.
0.04%. This is what we're doing all this for.
Yeah, and that's the official numbers, which we all know are blown up. So it's probably more like 0.004 or something. To add another zero in there.
Yeah, because it's not even a rounding error.
Yeah,
this is ridiculous.
It sure is, Kirby. Anything else you want to share tonight?
No.
Thanks for the call, man. I definitely appreciate hearing from you. Our toll-free number, if you want to join us, is 855-450-FREE. He was talking about Breonna Taylor, where she was shot by the police, and apparently protesters have taken to the streets after a grand jury brought no charges against the Louisville police in that particular case, according to the AP. Apparently a couple cops were shot and wounded Wednesday night during the demonstrations, expressing anger over the killings of black people at the hands of police.
And the thing is, I mean, the Declaration of Independence says that that government has one job. You have one job, government, and that is to defend our liberty. Okay?
Fail.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And furthermore, it says that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it.
I've been trying to do that for years, but they just don't care.
Well, me too. And the thing is, they don't, as long as you don't shoot back at them, they don't care because they'll just kill you if you get too much in the way. And so the bottom line is when the community is waging war on the police, then as far as I'm concerned, the community is right and the police should stand down and go home. So I gotta say, I mean, in that situation, they can be said to be in a state of revolt, a state of revolution, and within their rights to make war on the police. But when you're making war, you have to limit collateral damage for two reasons. First reason is if you do too much collateral damage, you're going to make a bunch of enemies and lose. And the second reason is you don't have a right to take other people's lives who non-combatants. You can't do that in war. If you're going to make it a war, you have to make it a war. And that means you don't attack civilians. You don't attack people who aren't fighting.
You want to comment? You can join us here. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. We're also telling you that mask ordinances may be going from bad to worse if what's happening in Nashua, New Hampshire, is any indication, where now the city council there has voted 13-2 to strengthen their already existing mask mandate. Now, not only can they fine the individual up to $1,000 if they're caught without a mask in or around businesses in Nashua, but now the business themselves, as well as the employees, will also be subject to fines of up to $1,000 if they are caught providing services or goods to any person not complying with face covering requirements. And I presume that is going into effect immediately. So that's bad, really bad. If you thought you were already a second-class person because you didn't want to wear a mask, now they are going to refuse to give you food.
It's like being a complete nobody.
855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You want to comment? Join us here. It's Free Talk Live.
Are you afraid to go to the mailbox because of letter after letter from the IRS? Are they stacking on more and more penalties and interest? By now, you know the problem won't go away on its own. Don't let the IRS chase you to your grave with penalties and interest and liens and levies. You need real help now. I'm Dan Pilla. I wrote the book on tax debt settlement, and I help thousands of people solve tax problems they thought couldn't be solved. I can help you too. Call 800-34-NO-TAX or go to my website, danpilla.com. That's danpilla.com. danpilla.com.
Are you ready for what's next? It's likely coming. More food shortages, power outages, grocery stores closed, social unrest. Ask yourself, do you have enough food and supplies on hand to last at least 30 days? Most Americans do not, but you can. Avoid the panic of the last-minute rush. Order your 4-week supply of emergency food today from mypatriotsupply.com. Starvation or dependency on the government are your only alternatives. Avoid those and the pain of being unprepared. Go to mypatriotsupply.com right now. Build your emergency food supply with meals that last up to 25 years in storage, shipped discreetly to your door. Folks that know what's coming are using today to prepare. There's time for you to do the same. That's mypatriotsupply.com, the original Patriot Preparedness Company. mypatriotsupply.com.
With a MECTEC carbine conversion unit, you can turn an XD family Glock or 1911 handgun into a carbine rifle in seconds and have it shipped right to your door, no FFL required. Now, MECTEC is excited to announce our pistol carbine conversion unit. More compact with a 12-inch barrel and an arm brace, proving once again that MECTEC is the world's most versatile handgun accessory. For a limited time, go to handgunconversions.com. That's handgunconversions.com and use coupon code RADIO to receive $35 off any carbine purchase.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project early movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Bring up anything you want here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've also got our new Matrix chat server where you can call in and sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us. Just jump over to chat.lrn.fm to get step-by-step instructions on how to connect and do that. It's Ian and nobody in the studio here with you tonight. We've been talking about the city of Nashua, New Hampshire, the government goons there voting 13-2 at a city council meeting this week to make their mask mandate probably one of the harshest in the country. At least I'm not saying this doesn't already exist elsewhere. I suspect it does. They probably got the idea from somewhere else, but it's the first I've heard of it, and that is to say that now they're going to tell business owners and employees that they are liable up to $1,000 fines if they are caught serving anyone without a mask. Now, maybe there's
and that's not just serving them alcohol. That's serving them
anything. You will not be allowed to make any purchases anywhere within the city limits of Nashua, New Hampshire, I believe effective immediately as of 2 nights ago.
Wow.
So it's absolutely insane. They are truly treating people who want to simply be free of wearing these masks to make a choice for themselves. The ones who want to have the freedom to choose are now being told you're a second-class person, you are not as good as the rest of everybody else, and effectively you will have to starve to death unless you're willing to somehow get outside of the city if you don't want to put a mask on.
Wow.
You can't buy food now anymore. You cannot buy anything at all.
And the thing that's going to happen, I'll tell you what, when somebody hits his 5th store and he can't get something to eat, somebody's going to get hurt. And it's probably going to be one of these little teeny bopper cashiers who's just trying to work a job.
Right.
And
oh, I can tell you.
And somebody's going to get beat up or somebody's going to get killed
when I was in
throwing somebody out.
Yeah, when I was in a gas station in Concord, I was there this week to attempt. I failed at my attempt to attend the federal court trial for Chris Cantwell that was going on Tuesday, and so I went to take a bathroom break at a nearby convenience store. I walked in.
Hard to do in Manch.
Went into the bathroom before they could see me. The bathroom was right next to the front door, so I was able to just kind of step in there. And then when I got out, my thought was, all right, well, I'm going to buy a bottle of water or something. Even though I had them in my truck, I wanted to buy something because I was able to use their restroom. It's just kind of something that I do if I can. And within moments of getting out of the bathroom, I was approached by a young man who was very nervous. You could tell by the way he was behaving that he probably hasn't had to do this very many times, which is to say tell someone without a mask that they have to leave. And then you could definitely tell that he wasn't used to people talking back to him. Because your typical person is probably going to have a mask on them and just reach into their pocket and put it on when they're told.
And they're going to be afraid.
Who?
They're going to think they're doing something wrong. They're going to feel like they're doing wrong. Ooh, I got caught.
Yeah.
But
I said, well, I've got a medical objection. And then he stumbled over his next set of words where he told me that it was the city ordinance, and clearly he was nervous about it. But yeah, what's this kid going to do? The kid wasn't any bigger than me. Like, he was real skinny. So there's no way he's going to be able to, like, get into it with some big redneck or whatever who comes in there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right, which is not you.
Right.
But yeah.
But he was nervous when dealing with me.
I would be very tempted in that situation after he said, well, I don't care. I would probably say, well, I want you to understand that I'm absolutely no threat to you. But one of these days somebody's going to come in here who's hungry enough and angry enough to throw hands with you. So I would suggest you start carrying a firearm if you're going to continue doing this, because it is not a safe position to put somebody in.
Adam in Indiana is on the line here. Let's go to the phones, to the fun. You're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, you guys have been talking about some interesting things. The conversation sort of shifted, so I'm wondering if I should kind of go with what you guys are talking about with the mask.
You should call about whatever you want. It's Free Talk Live, open phones. You can bring up anything you want. Please go right ahead.
Well, I'll just say one thing. The solution to the problem, I mean, with addiction is such a complex thing. It involves genetics. And I mean, it can happen to anybody. If you have a car wreck, all of a sudden you're on opioids and you're addicted before you know it. And it can happen to anybody. And I think there's a lot of wanting to point blame, but the blame is the policies that we have. The solution is complete legalization. And you look at the intersection of economics and capitalism and how things would be how innovations would come out of all of that. And you think about, nicotine, for example. There's a nicotine patch. It's simple things just like that. You know what I mean? I heard you earlier. One of you earlier had said that what is anyone's business about doing cocaine? We need to have self-reliance, and we need less government telling us what to do, and have more people thinking for themselves. And we need, and a way to do that is legalization. It's counterintuitive, of course, but it's a lot. Once you start looking at the effects of the policy, it makes a lot of sense. And as far as masks,
by the way, before you go on with those comments, I mean, there's nothing I can disagree with you on. Obviously, ending the war on drugs is the best thing we can do to help both the addicts and help clear out prison space, and to focus the police only on actually going after real criminals. I mean, it's really it would be a wonderful boon to society.
And also holding the supply chain responsible, because the thing is, and I've been a drug dealer, so I speak feelingly on this. I couldn't let somebody know who my source was. So if, say, somebody had sold me something bad and I had passed it on to a customer, I would be honor bound not to reveal who my source was. Well, that's in the underground market. In the regular market, your supply chain is known. You can say, this is my wholesaler, this is the distributor, this is the manufacturer. And so if somebody gets a bad product, they sue everybody involved, and somebody gets held liable for what happened to them, and they get damages. So that would be a huge improvement for them.
You are exactly right. We have lawyers. Lawyers get a bad name, but if you have lawyers that are suing, drug makers who are killing people, then all of a sudden that drug maker has a lot of incentive to make a product correctly, because they know they're going to be sued.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
All right. So your other comment about masks, Adam?
Yeah, about masks. There's a lot of misinformation out there. Most of these deaths are coming from nursing homes, and most people are recovering and.
Yep.
And another thing about capitalism, we need to let the businesses decide about their own policies. And this might go a little bit, sound a little tinfoil for you, but I was researching, there was a Soviet defectors in the 80s who were just talking about Soviet or psychological subversion. And it makes me wonder, is this where the Chinese kind of took off, where the Soviets ended that? Is this purposeful? I mean, there are some reports that the virus that has cut sites on it, and it was engineered. It's pretty clear that the virus was done with purposeful. Now, if it was going to be, if there was going to be a weapon, it would be innocuous like this. It would seem innocent. So, man, there's a lot of red flags in terms of the subtlety of all of this and what China has done to try to stop the information from that. But what do you think about that?
Well, I mean, it's quite possible, and there's all kinds of actors that could be playing games and all sorts of reasons. Like, one thing that occurred to me is, what if they put out this disease for which there's absolutely no benefit to wearing masks, but all the gullible people do it anyway? So then they release some other disease that would be stopped by a mask and kill off all the people who aren't gullible. So it would be a rope-a-dope. That would be one thing. But yeah, I've considered even, I can imagine a scenario where Russia didn't really go capitalist and was cooperating with China, and Russia was running the Republican Party and China was running the Democratic Party, and they're cooperating to turn us all into communists, which sounds absurd unless you listen to a little recording by G. Edward
you can do it.
Griffin.
You can do it.
Oh my God, I said it for the first time. I never remember that bro's name. But I gotta call him and set up an interview. but I talked to him. But
you did? Oh, cool.
Yeah. I talked to him on Facebook, and he gave me the email address to set up an interview.
Adam, thank you,
But listen
man.
to the speech, man. It's mind-blowing under today's circumstances. Just Google the name that I gave that I can't remember anymore, and
G. Edward
1969.
Griffin. Thank you, Adam, for your call and your thoughts tonight. I appreciate it. We got hour number 2 on the way here tonight. 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Parents arrested because their high schoolers had a party.
Holy moly.
Mom arrested at a football game for not wearing a mask.
Good Lord.
All kinds of crazy stuff to talk about here. It's Free Talk Live.
Wake me up.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for people to use it for everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that is as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
I'm crazy about My Magic Mud. This is the most important oral care product created this millennium, and I'm not kidding. We all have different opinions on politics and issues, but we all have mouths. And I want yours to be as clean as possible, with teeth as bright as they were meant to be. I will never be without My Magic Mud. It's a little surprising, but man, does it work. If you only listen to one thing I say ever, go to mymagicmud.com and get 20% off with code FTL. mymagicmud.com, code FTL.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Hoping for calm. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. As it gets closer to nightfall in Louisville, Kentucky, police and city officials hope demonstrations remain peaceful after 2 officers were shot last night amid protests over the grand jury decision to not indict officers in connection with the shooting death of Breonna Taylor.
About a half an hour before that 9 p.m. curfew, that's when investigators say officers were responding to a call for shots being fired when they were shot. Now, both officers are expected to fully recover from their injuries. One actually is already out of the hospital. Meanwhile, the suspect, Lorenzo Johnson, has been arrested on multiple charges, including assaulting 2 police officers.
Fox's Jeff Paul in Louisville. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear condemned the shooting of the officers, saying the answer to violence can never be violence. Before heading out to campaign events this evening, President Trump said he supports nonviolent demonstrations.
I think that peaceful protest is number one. It's fine to do that in a peaceful manner. But when it gets less than peaceful, as you see all over, then it's unacceptable. And that's where law and order is necessary. And that's where law enforcement is very important.
This as the family of Breonna Taylor has said they plan on holding a news conference tomorrow morning with civil rights attorney Ben Crump. At that campaign event in Charlotte, the president announced an executive order on health care.
The days of ripping off American patients are over.
He says the plan will deliver better care with more choice at a much lower cost, and he says he's working to ensure Americans have access to the care they need, including expanding affordable insurance options. Some school districts in Iowa have sent hundreds of students home for quarantine or isolation after outbreaks of COVID-19. State officials reported over 1,300 new cases of the virus in the last 24 hours. America is listening to Fox News.
For over 20 years, millions of customers have trusted Blinds.com to update their homes. Because Blinds.com makes it easy to get custom blinds that'll give your windows a high-end look without the high-end price. Whether you like to do it yourself, need help with design, or prefer measure and install services, they keep it simple with easy online ordering and free shipping right to your door. New window treatments are a simple way to really benefit the look and feel of your home. And Blinds.com will guide you every step of the way with free online design help. And if you're nervous about trying them, don't be. Blinds.com has over 30,000 five-star customer reviews, and they guarantee the perfect fit for your windows, whether you do it yourself or have them measure and install everything for you. Go to Blinds.com now to take advantage of this week's special savings on interior blinds, shades, shutters, and even outdoor shades. Rules and restrictions may apply.
A new study finds a certain type of mask doesn't meet medical standards to shield from COVID-19.
The nonprofit patient safety organization ECRI has issued a high-priority hazard alert against KN95 masks imported from China, saying that up to 70% of KN95 masks do not meet filtration standards and that many aren't safe and effective against the spread of coronavirus. A shortage of N95 masks forced hospitals to find alternatives, buying hundreds of thousands of KN95 masks. Besides filtration concerns, public health experts have criticized KN95 masks for their inability to create a tight seal on someone's face. N95 masks have head and neck straps. KN95s have ear loops. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
Florida prosecutors say they will not proceed with charges against the owner of the New England Patriots, who was arrested last year in a prostitution raid.
A misdemeanor charge of soliciting sex filed against Patriots.
Never, ever send a follow-up email asking, "Did you get my email?" Email 101. If it didn't bounce back undeliverable, it got where you sent it. And avoid transmedia pestering, like calling to ask, "Did you get my email?" or emailing to say, "I left you a voicemail." If your emails and voicemails aren't being acknowledged, your problem isn't technology, it's technique. Is your message concise and understandable? Have you boiled it down to seem as relevant as possible to the recipient? In other words, is it the opposite of spam or junk mail? All of this really matters if you're a job seeker. But even if you're not, with money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Markets went into a frenzy today after the price of money suddenly skyrocketed to $90 a dollar. Onion reporters spoke to economics professor Mark Cosgrave about the soaring cost of U.S. currency and the impact of increasingly unpredictable dollar-to-dollar rates.
Right now, money prices are steeply rising with no signs of slowing down. This morning alone, the price of dollars nearly tripled, with 1 cent worth approximately $6. That's exponentially higher than even a week ago when money was trading at roughly $53 on the dollar. To put it bluntly, we're now in the midst of a national economic crisis.
According to Cosgrave, the abrupt spike in dollar prices initially caused many Americans to hold on to their money, hoping that the $90 cost of dollars would soon dip back down. But as prices continued to climb, investors panicked and began purchasing as much money as possible.
But with the cost of quarters hitting $4.97 and the $5 bill jumping to a 12-year high of $372, the days when you could get $30 or $40 for just a couple of bucks are unfortunately long gone.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. We're kicking off the second hour of the program here. As always, you're invited to join us. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. And with you in the studio tonight, you've got Ian.
And nobody, otherwise known as Pope Indigent of the Church of the Invisible Hand.
And again, that number 855-450-3733. Or call us on our brand new Element which is this chat client. It's the Matrix servers, what we've got going on. You can go
we don't have an element. They've got an element. We've got a matrix.
Chat.lrn.fm gives you the instructions on how to get in there. And there's a few hoops that you're going to have to jump through. But that was the same thing was true with the Discord. It wasn't like a click and you're in. It was, you had to jump through. You had to sign up. And so, if you're willing to jump through a few hoops, you will sound way better than if you call in on the phone lines. If you call us over our new Matrix server, go to chat.lrn.fm. I saw you got in there, I think, last night, right? Nobody?
Yeah, I'm on it now,
Cool.
and I'm actually thinking I've got some other groups that I'm setting up for other reasons, so I may well either bring up my own server or see if I can hitch a ride on yours and do some hidden groups or something.
You can totally do that. That's one of the neat things about the Matrix server. Unlike Discord, which is more centrally controlled, this one allows the user to create their own chat rooms if they want to. So,
and that information doesn't leak off the server at all. It's not going to
unless you make it public, in which case then it could be seen by others.
Okay. Yeah. And is there do Matrix instances talk to each other?
They do. They're federated.
Okay.
So actually the official channels on the server that are listed at chat.lrn.fm, I have a list of the official channels so you can tell which ones are official and which ones aren't, because anybody can just spin up whatever channel they want to.
Okay.
But when you're making your channel, you can determine whether you want the public to be able to access it, meaning people from other Matrix servers, or if you only want the people from this one particular server to have access to it. So all the official channels are this server only, meaning that people from the outside can't come in and disturb those channels. But if you were to create your own channel, you could decide whether you want to have it be open and accessible to others or not.
Which I actually did. There's a Nobody Tells the Truth channel in there.
I hadn't even looked yet.
So if anybody wants to hear something particular tomorrow night on Nobody Tells the Truth from 10:30 to 12, and you check out the Matrix server, then you will have an opportunity to say, hey, I'd love to hear about this.
So you'll be monitoring that channel.
You idiot, you said this and you're wrong.
So you're going to monitor that channel during your show?
I'm going to monitor the channel during the show, and so it'll be I'm going to be much more interactive with the audience, I think, given this new system.
Excellent. You've already got 10 people in there. You're doing better than the Trump channel that somebody made.
Trump? New York City?
Trump 2020 MAGA is the channel. They're at 9 users on the server. So
yeah,
I have not gone in there and have no plans to.
How about Maggie? Make America great for everyone.
Yeah, how about we just forget about America and have just New Hampshire be great and let the rest of them figure it out on their own.
Yeah, they can do it their own way.
Unfortunately, New Hampshire is not great right now. Sadly, the city of Nashua now passing an amended mask mandate. They already had a mask mandate. Now this one is going to make it so that employees at businesses will be facing up to $1,000 fines if they are caught serving anyone without a mask on. Now, presumably there should be a medical exemption, but I have not looked at the details on this. Alderman Richard Dowd, who supported the ordinance, said, quote, "The majority of people I talked to in Nashua are strongly in support of this ordinance." He pointed out that wearing masks to prevent the spread of coronavirus is endorsed by a vast majority of scientists and doctors.
False.
Now, when you say false, I've seen there's an open letter by hundreds of Belgian doctors who have come out against all this coronavirus.
How many
madness.
doctors do you think there are in the world?
Hundreds of thousands, if not millions.
Okay. I doubt there's hundreds and thousands of names even on any of these lists.
Oh,
so the vast majority
have not been
polled.
polled.
That's an absurdity. The vast majority, nobody asked.
Yeah, that's right. Well, actually, you weren't there for it, but there's been a doctor, sort of like a Bitcoin accepting doctor, who's come up to town for our last 2 Bitcoin meetups, and he is back today.
Him.
Yeah, he was back today, and he says that he doesn't know any doctors who support this.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. See, that's somebody I want to interview him too.
Yeah, he's really interesting. So going on, Alderman Skip Cleaver said the board had a, quote, moral obligation to enact the law. He said, "It is the least we can do to protect our citizens, and I think we have to do it."
We have a moral obligation to make sure that those who wear masks have access to all services, and those who don't wear masks do not have access to any service.
Right.
They don't get food. They don't get water. They don't get anything. Well, that's unacceptable.
That's how it is.
That's unacceptable. And that's a violation of basic human rights.
But what they're going to say, because I brought this up before, I've pointed out that there's a lot of shades of similarity between what's happening to the people with no masks and what happened to the blacks in the South several decades ago. Now, obviously, no one has been strung up from a tree and dragged behind a truck or anything like that at this
but
point.
if they keep scooping up the rage, if they keep cranking up the rage, sooner or later it's going to happen.
So, but there is some pretty serious discrimination going on. And the objection that comes up, or the what they say back, is they say, oh, well, black people didn't choose, they couldn't choose to be black.
Right.
As though...
Well, I can't choose to believe these idiots. Much as I mean, even if I tried, I could not believe it. What you have seen, you cannot unsee.
And I didn't choose to have a bunch of officious bureaucrats try to tell me what I have to put on when I get up in the morning. And I'm not interested in being told what I need to wear. And I don't care what they say as to why.
And this seems like the kind of situation where you really need both agorism and militia. And I say agorism because one option to get around this is find one guy who's willing to put a mask on, go into Sam's Club and get big quantities of things, and then throw it in a warehouse and start selling it to your friends who don't believe these idiots.
Well, you can already hire people to go do shopping for you, so that's not new.
But what you're doing there is you're creating a place where people can go shopping for themselves, because there's more to shopping than buying stuff.
Right.
Okay. There's also just the act of interacting with people with faces if we're in our own place, and there's so many things that, like, there needs to be a live music venue that is private. Where it's like,
private
if
club.
you're not in the I don't believe you club, you don't come in, and that way we don't have anybody complaining that they got exposed to people with no masks in there.
Yeah, well, that's why I've always been saying that business owners who are willing to actually take a risk and do, what they want to do should just put a sign on the door that says, enter at your own risk.
Well, they should, but at the same time, there's a reason that we don't swear on the air, even though that is it is a violation of our free speech rights, to some extent. But we don't do it because you would lose your business if we started swearing on the air. They're in the same spot. And so the thing that you would have to do is set up an undercapitalized business so that if it does get confiscated, you haven't lost that much. That's why businesses that operate on the edge of the law are always a little bit run down, a little bit undercapitalized, because you don't want to put too much into what the police are going to take.
Yeah, that's a good point. Toll-free number tonight, if you want to join us here, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Still, the police chief in Nashua, Police Chief Mike Carnigan, says the revised ordinance is necessary to help police enforce the mandate. He says, quote, "We're not looking to penalize businesses." But that's what
Isn't that
gonna
exactly
do.
what they passed the law for, to penalize businesses?
Yeah. Still, he said there are some businesses that are defying the mask mandate, and the police department receives repeated complaints. The ordinance allows police to assist businesses if they have customers not abiding by the face mask rules. He said, quote, "They should call us. That's what we're there for." Well, what kind of good business is going to call the police on their own good customers?
Good God, not me. I'd rather just put a no sheep sign on the door.
Toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. It's absolutely tragic what's going on here, and it's likely that this is going to start to get picked up in other places. Not just New Hampshire, but in a lot of places. And that's really scary.
Maxwell, he was scratching and losing some hair. My vet, she says, oh, he must be allergic to chicken. Another vet said, eat the drain. Third vet said, it's the weather. Then somebody said, DINOVITE.com. It took 2 weeks, and the dog stopped itching, the hair stopped falling out. The Dinovite is a big part of Maxwell's diet.
You get some Dinovite, how happy your dog will be.
DINOVITE.com.
Did you know you can support freedom of speech just by visiting shop.freetalklive.com? You'll see links to Walmart, Love Java, Newegg, and more. Every day, Free Talk Live is at the forefront of the liberty movement as the biggest liberty-oriented talk show in the world, giving you a platform to be heard on any topic. Get listener-only specials without doing anything other than an extra click. Visit shop.freetalklive.com. Use the links and buy what you'd be buying anyway. Take action now. Save and support freedom. Visit shop.freetalklive.com. It's shop.freetalklive.com.
Join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians from June 28th through July 4th for ForkFest 2021 at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. ForkFest happens the week after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and ForkFest is decentralized, which means no one is in charge. That also means there's no ticket cost. Just reserve your camping, RV site, or motel room with Rogers Campground for June 28th through July 4th. Where better to celebrate Independence Day than around other freedom-loving activists in the Shire? You can relax and enjoy the camaraderie of like-minded people, or you can create whatever experience or event you'd like others to have. If you're planning an event for ForkFest, be sure to let others know in advance. You can connect with fellow ForkFesters via the unofficial Telegram chat or the ForkFest forum. Links to those are on the unofficial website, forkfest.party. Mark your calendar for June 28th through July 4th, 2021. We'll see you at forkfest.party.
Free Talk Live.
I was in the military for 31 years, and I hear all this talk about the draft and defending freedom and all that. From my perspective, as I'm ex-Navy, I never defended anybody's freedom, American or anybody else's. I was a hired thug for the U.S. government. It's just propaganda put out by the government, and it's we're the best and the brightest, and all of that just makes me ill because of all the millions of people that have died because the American military is all over the world. There's nobody attacking us. I mean, our government is like every other government. It's run by degenerate psychopaths that are power mad, and I have no clue what goes on inside their mind, but it's nothing good.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You dial in toll free if you want to join us here. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And nobody.
That toll free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We have the call-in option now on our Matrix server, which is a chat server. It's decentralized. It's federated. It's impossible, basically, for corporate America to take this one down. So get on over to chat.lrn.fm. You can get the instructions on how to get connected over there. In fact, we were just talking about you've got a channel of your own there, nobody that you can admin and take control of on your own, and so can everybody else. Again, chat.lrn.fm. A huge teen party, they say, delayed a Massachusetts school's reopening, according to the Washington Post, when a police cruiser rolled up to a house party in Sudbury, Massachusetts. Earlier this month, teens sprinted into the woods, chucking cans of beer as they fled. In the basement, police found dozens more underage drinkers, all breaking pandemic rules by packing together in a basement with no masks. Now, the police have charged 2 parents and their teenager for hosting the huge party, which forced the local high school to cancel its in-person reopening so the entire student body could quarantine for 14 days.
Wow.
Now, mind you, no one has come up with any kind of illness from this. No one has died from this. It's a high school party. These things happened all the time when there was the flu and colds and other communicable infectious things going around. But now a high school party equals canceling school for 2 weeks and criminal charges. Now, of course, parents would probably have been charged criminally anyway if, before COVID. But regardless.
With the drinking, yes.
Yeah.
But were they charged with something besides the alcohol?
Good question. Or whatever the charge is, contributing to a delinquency of the minor, or some sort of charge. That's usually what you would get hit with.
And, of course, there's different grades of that. I'm sure that can be either misdemeanor or felony, I believe.
So much vitriol has flowed at the couple who weren't identified by police that authorities are urging locals to accept that the family will now face some justice in court. So apparently they've been getting threats.
They're going to get some justice. They're going to sue the people that have been harassing them.
No, what they mean is they're going to put them in jail or force them into some sort of community service.
What kind of idiot would call that justice for doing nothing? Oh, man.
Sudbury Police Chief Scott Nick said in a statement, quote, "We encourage residents to refrain from making any more volatile comments on social media regarding this incident, as we are holding those responsible for providing the venue accountable." And then they go on to talk about college students who are partying despite the coronavirus restrictions. The cops in Sudbury responded to the house party at about 10 p.m. on September 11th after someone called to report a large underage drinking party, and they found at least 50 teenage partiers inside. All right, so look, kids, let me give you guys some suggestions here. So,
kids, don't try this at home.
No, absolutely. Do try it at home, but just, know a few rules that need to be enforced. If you don't want the police to come inside, don't answer the door. Okay, now I'm not an attorney. I can't give you legal advice. This is just what I would do if I were in your shoes. Do not let the police inside your home. If there are people who are drinking who are not over the age of 20 or 21 and over, then do yourselves a favor. Don't be spread out, in the front yard. Don't be out visibly consuming alcohol where the police can just roll up and grab you. Okay, you don't want that to happen. So take the extra precaution. And a lot of the college kids here in this area, by the way, we're in Keene, New Hampshire. It's a college town. A lot of them are keeping it real quiet.
On the down low.
Yeah, and they really have been good at it. I've been around the college neighborhood on Saturday evenings after I'm done with the show, because historically what I would do in this time of year, and you've been out helping me with this in the past, nobody, is we go out to the college neighborhood, we hand out Know Your Rights information about copblock.org. People help them learn how to interact, or rather not interact with the police, to not answer their questions, to record video of incidents. This is sort of the basics that we want people to exercise their rights when they get into police encounters. And this year, the streets are dead.
Yeah.
You can stand out there and there's just no one walking from, because normally, like every other year prior to this one, it's been Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights. They're the party nights. There's waves and waves of, 19, 18, 20-year-olds walking from party to party, some of them carrying open containers, which is illegal.
Some of them carrying 18, 19, 20-years.
Yes, physically, sure. That's happened because they're so too drunk they can't walk.
It's true.
We've definitely seen all that. And this year, that's just not happening on the street. So there must be parties going on, but they're keeping it real quiet.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm seeing a lot of is kids buying booze at the various places where you can do that, like stores as opposed to, partying in the streets. So my guess is that they're having smaller and sadder parties, but, trying to sneak around, which is miserable. That's the thing that I hate about this, is that if I put a mask on, I'm lying.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying that I believe these idiots, and I do not believe them.
I'm not going to give them any more power.
Yeah. And at the same time, if I don't put the mask on, then I have to engage in all sorts of undignified things, like trying to sneak into the bathroom before somebody sees me.
That's what I had to do.
If I really have to pee.
Yep.
That's just absurd for a man of my age to be doing.
Yep.
And the solution, the way to take this away is so simple. Let store owners make their own choices.
Absolutely.
Let customers make their own choices. Let employees make their own choices.
The fact that we have to say that is a real statement for how far this country has gone towards total rule and total tyranny, and it's really bad.
Yeah,
it's bad.
The time has come for the militia to form, to start committees of correspondence or whatever it takes to get something on the road, so that eventually we can defend at least some of these businesses in at least some places.
There aren't many worth defending because most of them aren't going to do anything to step out of line.
Well,
They'll
the thing is, if that became a movement, nobody wants to be first. And that's why I think the only way it's gonna happen is if people set up a business that's designed for activism first.
Well, that's why I'm really happy that we have the owner of Fa Keene Great here in Keene, downtown Keene, because she is willing to be first. She's willing to be first.
She's got a lot of balls for a girl.
And yeah, she does. And she's already lost 2 of her businesses.
Yeah.
So she's on her final restaurant. I think she has a couple other non-restaurant businesses that she runs, but this is her last restaurant that she's got.
Yeah. Did you ever find out the state of that real estate?
No.
Okay.
No, I haven't been in since last week, but we've got a group going in tomorrow night if you want to join us.
I'll do that.
We're going to be going there at 5 o'clock tomorrow. So you want to comment? Apparently, again, the cops in Massachusetts shutting down a high school party, but then using that as the excuse to shut down the high school before they were going to open the high school up. Now they're putting it on delay for 2 weeks before they'll actually start having classes for so-called quarantine of the entire student body.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what do they even need these classes for? They could probably do better at the Khan Academy, which has been doing free distance learning forever.
Get your kids out of these government schools. It's just dangerous to be there. They're going to hurt you.
They could get quarantined for weeks and you don't know where they are. Anything could happen.
News from news.bitcoin.com. Despite years of warnings about cryptocurrency, criminals prefer U.S. dollars for money laundering, study shows. Jim Rogers predicts end of U.S. dollar dominance. Macro strategist Raul Paul says Bitcoin beats gold in every way. New crypto, sushi, plummets around rumors of exit scam. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com.
Divi's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divi's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to diviproject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from diviproject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. diviproject.org. D-I-V-I project.org.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, hey, who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't going to make it.
Wait on account. Now. Wait a minute.
Whoa.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me?
Because you scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything you want right here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And nobody.
From mid-March to mid-July of this year, Divvy, which is a newer, easy-to-use cryptocurrency we've promoted here on Free Talk Live, increased in value 10x. Actually, a little bit more than 10x. Now, of course, there has been a downturn since that time. You don't know what the future is going to hold, but obviously the programmers behind Divvy would love to see it go up again and continue. To do that, you can go to divvyproject.org to learn more about Divvy, how you can start a masternode or stake Divvy. There's even a lottery for people who stake the coin. You can learn more at divvyproject.org, D-I-V-I project.org. As we continue, just so many absolutely ridiculous stories surrounding this mask mandatory madness in fear world, this COVID crackdown that keeps getting worse. According to the New York Post, a woman at a grade school football game in Ohio on Wednesday, that's yesterday, was reportedly tased and arrested. Well, there's video, from what I understand, of this happening.
There is video, so it's more than reportedly.
Yeah, by a police officer.
It's recordedly.
For not wearing a face mask in the stands. The woman was sitting in the bleachers with her mother when she got into an altercation with a cop about mask wearing at a middle school in the town of Logan, Ohio. Video of the incident posted to YouTube shows the woman resisting as the officer struggles to handcuff her for nearly 2 minutes before he deploys his taser.
2 minutes before he deploys the taser? That's amazing, amazing power that he had to keep up with her that long and manage to fight his battle to be able to handcuff this woman who looked like she was about 110 pounds.
Yeah, she's half this man's. Yeah, she's half this man's size. He's a Hulk compared to this lady.
Yeah, it must have been a desperate fight for him and terror for his life that, if he caught her COVID, which, there's no reason to believe she has, he would have a 1 in 200 chance of dying.
The woman, identified in the report as Alicia Kitts, repeatedly tells the officer to get off me, shows the video. She says, "You're not arresting me for nothing. I ain't doing nothing wrong," she yells as the officer orders her to place her hands behind her back. Once the officer tases
Well, Alicia
Kitts,
told the officer the truth, sir.
She falls to a lower tier of the bleachers, according to the footage. Oh, my God.
Yeah, it looked painful.
The use of force shocked others watching the game. A witness can be heard saying, tasing this lady over not wearing a damn mask. As the woman is finally hauled away, her mother pleads with the cop, come on, it's just a mask. And again, reminder, she's in the bleachers in an outdoor arena or area with absolutely no one in her vicinity except for this looming cop who's, standing over her. That's it.
So basically, she even if she had the COVID, she wouldn't had the Rona.
Right, she was totally distanced from people.
Yeah, so he wouldn't have been at risk until he walked up to her, touched her, put his hands on her, maybe made her bleed. All of these things make it easier to catch a disease. You don't attack sick people if you're afraid of getting what they have.
Right. And you don't say that it's free, we're here to help.
Yeah.
You don't say that we're concerned about you, so now we're going to go ahead and tase you and tackle you and haul you away because we want to help you. Huh?
Well, from the drug users of America, let me say, welcome to the party. It's no fun. We've had all the help we need from these morons.
Kitts, who appeared to have an ironically, American flag-themed mask in her back shorts pocket, was rooting for the visiting team at the time. The Logan Police Department told the Times the incident is under investigation. Logan Athletic Director Teresa Schulthis told the newspaper Kitts and her mother were the only two in a crowd of 300 fans who were, quote, having issues, unquote, complying with the state's mask requirement. Quote, the rule has been in effect since we were told we could play. Everyone that came through ticketing tonight was reminded. We had regular announcements over the PA reminding you that mouths and noses need to be covered and signs at the bathroom. So this woman was arrested simply because she did not comply fully with the state's mandates, even though she was totally distanced from absolutely everyone else in the stands. And there's no amount of logic here that will apply. It's just enforcement, blind enforcement, mass enforcement of arbitrary diktats from these bureaucrats and politicians. And it's sick. And it's getting worse.
It is. And it's very difficult to really know what's going on. And there's a lot of misinformation out there. And some of it comes on the anti-mask side as well as the as the pro-mask side. For example, people said because 94% of people who died had comorbidities, that only 6% died from the Rona. And that's not really what that says.
No, what it says is only 6% had just the coronavirus.
Right. But some of those people would have died anyway and some would not. So, I mean...
Well, all of them will die anyway.
They'll all die eventually anyway. Some of them would be dead by now and some of them would not.
Odds are, yes.
And I would say the number is not 94% would be alive or whatever, but... some of them would have still died. So what we know is that it's somewhere in between. We shouldn't quote the 6% number because it basically it gives people an opportunity to dismiss everything we say if we say something inaccurate.
They'll dismiss it anyway. If they're in favor of the masks, it doesn't matter what you say to them. It's fear that they're going by. They're not going by any kind of logic. They've been told by some authoritarian medical professional or some politician that they need to do this, and they're going to do it. And they're going to hate you if you don't.
For years, I did not believe and would not even discuss whether 9/11 was an inside job. For years. And even now, I don't say 9/11 was an inside job. What I say is the government is lying to us about 9/11.
What's the truth?
I don't know what really happened.
Me neither.
All I know is that they're lying. And it's the part when I start thinking people are crazy is when they start thinking they actually know what really happened, as opposed to, well, it's fun to think about what really happened, but we don't know and we're not gonna.
Well, what's sad is when people who would otherwise normally question the government and would otherwise normally know that if a politician's lips are moving that they're telling a lie, for whatever reason, when it's about medical things, they think these politicians are being honest with them.
Well, the thing is, they think that the politicians are parroting the scientists, and they trust the scientists in a lot of cases. But the
what makes
thing
them
is,
think that scientists aren't also authoritarian power mongers?
And it's not even that. If you ask a bunch of scientists the same question, they're going to come up with a bunch of different answers. Right. So by cherry picking those answers and highlighting the Dr. Fauci's and downplaying the Rand Pauls, you can you can get the results you want just by
which
selection
scientists
bias
are they going to hire?
Human.
The government's going to hire some scientists. Which are they more likely to hire? The guy that's a libertarian or the people that are authoritarian status?
And more specifically, somebody could be an authoritarian statist and write on the numbers, and they may fire them just for that reason. Mm-hmm. They'll say it's for another reason. There is a woman in Florida who was a computer person, and she claims that she was fired because the state wanted her to adjust and falsify numbers in her website, and she wouldn't do it.
Let's go to Mac. He's in Colorado, watching us on YouTube. Mac, you're on Free Talk Live. Hello?
So I had a question for nobody, and maybe you, Ian.
Go ahead.
Have you heard of a professor named Richard D. Wolff?
Nobody knows who that is. Or at least I don't.
I've never heard of him. Why?
Okay. Supposedly he's a professor of economics, and he espouses Marxism, or that...
Sounds like your typical professor.
That the interpretations of Marxism and academia is not as well understood in today's society.
So he sounds like pretty much every other professor out there. Hang on, I'll bring you back here.
They weren't doing real Marxism.
Max, stand by. We'll bring you back. You can continue your thoughts. Our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Police arrest 3 at an outdoor church event in Idaho. We'll tell you about that coming up.
Those churchgoers.
Free Talk Live.
Are you ready for what's next? It's likely coming. More food shortages, power outages, grocery stores closed, social unrest. Ask yourself, do you have enough food and supplies on hand to last at least 30 days? Most Americans do not, but you can. Avoid the panic of the last-minute rush. Order your 4-week supply of emergency food today from mypatriotsupply.com. Starvation or dependency on the government are your only alternatives. Avoid those and the pain of being unprepared. Go to mypatriotsupply.com right now. Build your emergency food supply with meals that last up to 25 years in storage, shipped discreetly to your door. Folks that know what's coming are using today to prepare. There's time for you to do the same. That's mypatriotsupply.com, the original Patriot Preparedness Company. mypatriotsupply.com.
Fifth Season Financial is a licensed lender, not available in all states. Visit fifthseasonfinancial.com for details.
Are you or a loved one suffering financial hardship as a result of an advanced stage illness like cancer, Alzheimer's, or ALS? Are the financial side effects of your medical fight reducing your quality of life and causing stress and worry? Did you know that you could be eligible for a special loan to access funds locked up in your life insurance policy? Text the word LIVE to 411-411 now. Fifth Season may be able to help you address your financial needs through our Funds for Living program. This simple-to-use program helps you access value that is locked up in your life insurance policy by lending you money against the face amount of your policy. This loan is not like other loans where you need to make monthly payments, and it only gets repaid out of the proceeds of the life insurance policy. Visit fifthseasonfinancial.com/radio and get approved quickly. If you need financial help, have an advanced stage illness, and a life insurance policy, text LIVE to 411-411. Text the word LIVE to 411-411.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your AMP will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you AMP Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it! You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial on in here, toll free. Take control of the airwaves, 855-450, free like freedom, 855-450-3733. We're talking about just a variety of news stories involving people being arrested for not wearing masks. It's not just fines anymore. Now it's you're going to jail. And with you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And nobody.
We're going to go back to more of your calls and thoughts. We already covered a mom who was arrested and tased for not wearing a mask at an outdoor football event where she was sitting on the bleachers well away from anyone else. But because she was the only one out of 300 people, or her and her mother, I guess, were the only two out of 300 people, they sicked the police on them. We also talked about a high school party that got busted up by cops, and now they're using that as an excuse to delay the school year starting by 2 full weeks. They're putting everyone in the school on a mandatory quarantine.
Well, if you didn't have time to pull your kid out of school and put them in some better learning situation, now's your chance. If you procrastinated, you can make up for it now. Be a better parent.
Yep, it's a great opportunity for parents to get their kids out of government school. Let's go back to Mac. He's calling from Colorado. Mac, you'd asked us if we had heard of a particular Marxist professor of economics at some school somewhere. Tell me more.
He is a professor. Just quickly reading from the wiki, he's basically known to be a Marxian economist, and then we're known for economic methodology and class analysis. He studied at Yale, Harvard, and I forgot what that last.
And none of them could cure him of the Marxism thing?
Supposedly, from a podcast I was listening to earlier, he said he was not persuaded through that whole time that, or at least was convinced enough to be swayed from Marxist thought and theory.
Wow. Some people just don't learn, but most of them don't get PhDs.
Yeah. Well, and the reason I wanted to bring it up was maybe nobody that you could maybe talk about podcast episode or maybe have a critique on it one Friday when just.
And what is it specifically you want him to critique?
Have him come in and talk to me, or
you could do that too. He might interview.
Why is this one? Maybe I'm missing something. Why is this one Marxist college professor somehow noteworthy? I mean, there's a ton of these guys out there.
Yeah, but from what I was listening on the podcast, which by the way, it's a podcast called Better Left Unsaid with Kurt Jaimungal, and the episode.
That's such a great counterpoint.
Yeah, well, no, I mean I know I'm just.
To nobody tells the truth, I mean.
Yeah. Richard Wolff on Black Lives Matter. Defunding the Police, and Third Wave Socialism is the episode of the podcast.
So they had this guy as a guest on this podcast you were listening to.
Yeah, and it's about close to 2 hours long. And he basically goes through how supposedly Marxism was vastly misunderstood. And there's a lot of YouTube videos, and there's a lot of people interviewing him as of recently. I've noticed that he's.
So what's he saying? I mean, what's his main point? If he's saying Marxism was misunderstood, what is his argument about the primary issue that was the misunderstanding?
Well, he thinks that during the 1960s and 70s, there was just too much McCarthyism, Red Scare going around, academia basically being way too hostile towards his thought, going as far as calling it a dangerous ideology or dangerous ways of thinking along those lines.
Well, given all the starvation that's sprung from it, I can see how they would.
Yeah, and he never really addressed that in the podcast because obviously it was just them asking him questions, and it's very, very philosophical jargon in that episode. So, just to give you a heads up on that.
All right, Mac.
But I thought it would be interesting for you to maybe come over and see what you think about it on one of your episodes of Nobody Tells the Truth.
Weren't you supposed to interview some kind of leftist recently? What happened with that?
Actually, I was, and I ended up doing something different that night.
What happened? Did they bail? Did the person bail?
No,
out?
Actually, I bailed because I was ranting that night.
Oh. So wait, did you inform the person you had canceled?
Yeah. I've talked to him, and we're still planning on doing it. But
Gotcha.
If you want to send me a link to this guy's best video, send it to nobody at electnobody.com, and that would be great. Just email.
Okay. Thank you, Mac, for your call tonight. I appreciate it. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. John in Nevada, you're on Free Talk Live. Hello, John.
Hey, I just wanted to call in to talk about there's been a new treatment for coronavirus kind of floating around, and I'm not sure if you guys have heard of it. It has to do with food-grade peroxide through a nebulizer.
No, what is it? What do you do with it?
That sounds like a terrible idea.
Originally, if you think about it just like that, it is kind of terrible, but it all has to do with dilution. Now, I'm not a doctor, but I know that this information comes from a well-respected doctor, and actually all the info is free if you want to learn more. It's at stopcovidcold.com, but it's basically, it's diluted the food-grade peroxide into a nebulizer, and basically people have been seeing results within 15 minutes after treatment. He's gotten a bunch of people to sign a waiver that they've been treated and had good results with it. But
now, what is a nebulizer?
That wouldn't be a waiver. A waiver would be an agreement not to sue. So that would be. So you're talking about signing an affidavit or something.
Yeah, something like that. I misspoke.
So a nebulizer is like a mist-making kind of machine, right?
Yeah, it's like he's describing primatine mist, which, as I understand it, is mostly saline solution, but he's talking about using hydrogen peroxide. Well, hydrogen peroxide is H2O2, okay? So it's like water with an extra oxygen, and it oxidizes things. That's why it kills, it dissolves organic material. So I would talk to somebody or make sure you had really good information before I sprayed that up my nose,
or in your lungs.
Because I don't want to dissolve my nose.
I'm not suggesting that people just put this in a nebulizer and go to town. This is something that you want to check with your physician before and make sure that you have all the info on the dilution, and there's a very specific guide on how to make it. It's not just as simple as it sounds. But I just wanted to simplify it because I know I may not have a lot of time, but. I'm not recommending you go do it yourself or anything. I just wanted to know if anybody had heard of it or, anything like that.
No, it's the first I've heard of it. If I came down with COVID, I'd probably just get through it. I probably wouldn't look for any help unless it was really bad.
I would look for hydrochloroquine personally. I would try to get that because I would want to see whether that did make it clear up in 24 hours as Gene has described, because I would want to be able to say that personally.
Do you have to get it on the black market? Because I've heard they've prohibited doctors from prescribing it now.
Well,
absolutely. And they've also, in my state, they've actually been hoarding hydroxychloroquine. And not only that, they've been telling pharmacies not to fill them.
Yep. The doctors here have been ordered by the governor, by His Excellency, to not prescribe that particular thing.
Well, if you hired a chemist, you could probably produce it pretty easily, because I know that they were synthesizing it at the University of Michigan College of Pharmacy at the time when their governor said you can't. This was when it was first talked about. They said, "Oh, you can't prescribe this stuff," and they were making it themselves in the laboratories. So
they were mass producing and hoarding it.
Yeah, so it can't be hard. It can't be that hard to make. Maybe find somebody at the local pharmacy school and see if they'll cook something up for you.
Thank you, John, for your call tonight. Appreciate it. There's always going to be alternatives out there. It's just up to somebody to actually do the research and figure out what feels right for them.
And the hard thing is finding the person you trust to do the research, because once something becomes politically charged, all bets off on who's telling the truth.
Right. Good luck finding the real info. 855 450 free like freedom. Here's another crazy story. This time, cops in Moscow, that is Moscow, Idaho, arrested 3 people Wednesday for violating social distancing rules as their church sang hymns and Bible psalms outdoors, an event held in part to protest the city mayor's mask mandate, which is in effect until January of next year. Officers arrested Gabriel Wrench, Rachel Bonet, and Sean Bonet, according to the Moscow Report.
But not Jean Benet Ramsey.
No, I think she died a little while back.
Well, so they say.
A local independent news outlet, according to the Moscow Report, a video uploaded to social media shows Bonet, a local music teacher, and his wife telling officers they refused to comply with an inaudible order. Moscow Report says the apparent infraction is they refuse to show identification. Now, the thing is...
Your papers, sir!
Here's the weird thing. They're in a crowd of what appears to be at least a couple hundred people, all of whom are not wearing masks. Why were these 3 targeted in this particular crowd?
Well, when you have a bizarre law like that, you can target the people you hate for whatever reason.
And the number, 855-450-FREE, Hour 3, coming up.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now's your chance to be part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for everyone to use it in everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that's as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more, and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
The challenger has the upper hand. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. The latest Fox News poll has Joe Biden leading in 3 more swing states.
Joe Biden leads President Trump in Nevada, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. In Nevada, Biden leads by 9 points, in Ohio by 5 points, and in Pennsylvania by 7. In each state, voters say they trust Biden to do a better job on the virus by double digits and on picking a Supreme Court justice by anywhere from 6 to 10 points. Biden is also more trusted on policing policing and criminal justice. But voters in each of these states trust President Trump to do a better job on the economy by anywhere from 3 to 5 points. In each state, Biden is more supported by non-white voters, women, and white people with a college degree. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
President in Jacksonville, Florida tonight. Earlier, he was in Charlotte, where he signed an executive order on health care.
It is the official policy of the United States government to protect patients with pre-existing conditions. So we're making that official.
Joe Biden is not campaigning today. He's prepping for next week's debate.
As Joe Biden begins his debate prep here at home in Wilmington today, he's talking about the head-to-head matchup with Trump on Tuesday like it's going to be an actual brawl.
He's going to want to make it personal. He's going to want to get in the mosh pit. I'm going to talk about why I want to be president of the United States, what I'm going to do, and where he's failed.
Biden is very confident, saying that he has not been a bad debater. And he said last week he still didn't have anybody assigned to stand in and pretend to be Trump for a practice round. But
Fox's Peter Ducey in Wilmington. A man who murdered a religious couple visiting Texas from Iowa has been put to death. Christopher Villalva was pronounced dead shortly after receiving a lethal injection at the federal prison in Terre Haute, Indiana. The Pac-12 will play football starting later this year, according to the Associated Press. America is listening to Fox News.
Adjusting to a new normal means we need to be smart about how we do business. Thousands of small business owners have discovered the benefits of Stamps.com and kept their businesses running while avoiding trips to the post office. With Stamps.com, you can print postage on demand and you'll never pay full price, with access to discounted rates you can't even get at the post office, like 5 cents off every stamp and up to 62% off USPS and UPS shipping rates. Don't waste time at the post office or UPS store. Print official stamps and labels right from your home or office computer for any letter, any package, anywhere you want to send. Once your mail's ready, just leave it for your mail carrier, schedule a free package pickup, or drop it off. It's a no-brainer. Right now, listeners get a special offer that includes a 4-week trial, plus free postage and a digital scale with no long-term commitment. Just go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, and type in Fox. That's Stamps.com. Enter Fox. Stamps.com. Enter Fox.
The leader of one European country loosening some COVID-19 restrictions.
Belgium's Prime Minister says the country should learn to live with the coronavirus. Sophie Wilmers is relaxing rules on face masks and shortening a mandatory self-quarantine period, even as infection numbers rise. She stresses it's not a wholesale lifting of restrictions. Masks are still required in many circumstances, and gatherings of more than 10 people are banned. But she says she wants Belgium to move from crisis management to risk management. In London, Simon Owen, Fox News.
This is Britain offers more state support for people impacted by the virus. The country's finance minister says people who have had their hours cut and lost wages will have the difference made up by the government. Apple facing a lawsuit over its business practices involving its App Store.
Businesses that are critical of Apple have formed a nonprofit group to advocate for challenges to the way Apple runs its App Store. Among those in the group, Spotify Technology, Match Group, Inc.
LRN.FM's free-to-air satellite feeds blanket most of 2 continents. It was my goal to put our channel there so people without internet could receive our programs and feed pirate radio stations. As our contract with our satellite provider is coming up for another 3-year renewal, I have to consider calling it quits. It's rare that we get feedback or support from our satellite users. We started a fundraiser a few years ago, and though there are a bunch of great contributors to it, as of this recording, it covers 15% of our monthly satellite costs. Please email lrn@lrn.fm and tell me how you use the satellite feed. Better yet, chip in at fund.lrn.fm. The costs aren't the issue. We can afford them, but why continue something not valued by the market? Want to help? You can join our satellite fundraiser for just $2 a month at fund.lrn.fm. If we raise enough to keep both channels on the air, awesome. If we raise more, I'll add more channels. If not, we can shut them down and go internet only. It's up to you. Thank you for your support. Fund.lrn.fm.
A man thanks God he's not sexually attracted to children, and Popeye's home is burglarized. Week in and week out, you come back like a housebroken Pomeranian, loyal to the bitter end. Good boy. This is the Onion Week in Review. Georgia's Cobb County Evangelical Hospital held its 5th annual Walk to Cure Gayness today, reportedly drawing thousands of participants to raise funds that would cure sufferers of their homosexuality and make gayness a thing of the past. Hospital administrators told reporters that funding from the walk would go into providing new state-of-the-art gayness treatment equipment, along with remodeling the hospital's physical therapy center, which has spent nearly 14 years reteaching gay men how to walk properly.
Oh God, I was a goner. But as you can see, I'm now happily married to a woman, and as of next month, I will have been in full remission for 2 whole years. I'm just so very, very happy. Everything's really good in my life.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live, kicking off the 3rd hour of the program. You can take control of the airwaves here. Our number 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And the amount of freedom that we have in the world is going down, and it's getting worse. Seems like at a faster clip since the COVID insanity began. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And nobody. And yeah, I feel like I'm in the garbage compactor in the first Star Wars. Just watching the walls close in on me.
It seems inevitable.
Not good.
Yeah, it's a real bad feeling. And unfortunately, very few people are pushing back. Very few people are refusing to obey. However, there are a few bright spots here and there. There's a church in Moscow, Idaho, that recently did an outdoor sermon, an outdoor gathering, with what appears from the photograph I'm seeing here from the Moscow Report newspaper to be a fairly large number of people in attendance. It looks like at least a couple hundred, maybe even a few hundred folks at this particular church service. And I don't really see anyone wearing masks with the exception of the 2 police officers who are handcuffing 2 of the folks. In fact, there were 3 total people that were arrested at this particular church gathering.
And how many were there?
I see hundreds.
Why did they pick 3 out of hundreds?
That's what's not clear. Now, it may be because, as you suggested earlier, without even having heard the story, you suggested that they would target the people they don't like in this group.
And, yeah, well, that's what's going to happen anytime. If you have a prejudice, you're going to go after the person you're prejudiced against.
Well, one of the people they arrested happens to host a talk show.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. Now, according to the story here, they arrested 3. We'll tell you a little bit more about what went down there. But first, we go to your phone calls and thoughts. Mike is on the line in New Hampshire, watching us on our Twitch feed over at twitch.lrn.fm. Go ahead, Mike.
Hey guys, I know chalking is a little near and dear to your hearts. I know it's been used in Gene a couple of times.
Chalking? Like chalking the pavement?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to bring it to your attention that last month a law was passed in Tennessee making chalking a felony.
Oh my God. What?
Yep. So it's the anti-protest bill. It makes any kind of graffiti and overnight protest a felony, including chalking. They the weird thing is they didn't pass it until the end of August, but the person mentioned in the article that was arrested for chalking was arrested in July.
Wow.
For felony vandalism.
Yep, you're absolutely right. It's a Class E felony and a mandatory 30-day jail sentence for intentionally, quote, damaging or defacing state property, including the use of graffiti or chalk.
Well, if you get an opportunity to do jail,
absolutely insane.
Go ahead.
He said it was insane. Nobody. Go ahead.
Oh, if you get an opportunity to do jury duty, please don't turn that down. Go in, and if they charge somebody with this nonsense, even if I had to wear a mask, I would go to jury duty just to acquit somebody of this nonsense.
The worst thing about this bill to me is obviously the chalking part is one of the most ridiculous things, but it's pretty clear that they don't really care about your protest. They're just going to make your protesting illegal.
Basically. That's pretty much what it's coming to. I mean, essentially the entire system is becoming less accessible than it has ever been. And it was fairly inaccessible before, but now, as I was describing earlier this week, you can't even go to court. If you want to go to the court in downtown Concord, New Hampshire, which I tried to do on Tuesday, And Mike, thank you for the call. Thanks for bringing up that awful news to us. You won't be allowed in. You can only go up to a drive-through window.
A drive-through window at the courthouse. When did they put in a drive-through window?
I don't know if it was always there or if they just added it during this whole COVID thing, but it's there now. And,
wow.
And so when I tried to drive through, the woman told me that, we're not giving people case information anymore. So if you want case information, you have to call the central office for the court. So now you can't just go. So it was already a pain enough to go and get case information from a court. Now you have to call the centralized helpline in order to get information from them and wait on hold through however many people are on before you. And now, to the credit of the helpline, they are somewhat helpful there in my experience. Like, they're not as awful as the bureaucrats at the actual courthouse, but it's now even less accessible than it's ever been. It's harder than it's ever been to attend a government meeting. You cannot go to a city council meeting physically and show yourself. You cannot go physically and get your own video recording of it. You can't go to a court and sit in there and watch the trial. That's not happening anymore.
And if you're not going to tell the mask lie, then even if you did, I've seen videos of people getting dragged out of city council meetings, getting dragged out of school board meetings. So, the idea is to make us unpersons, to take our humanity at this point if we don't toe the line, if we don't tell the lie, then to take our humanity and take our life, take our ability to interact with people and eventually starve us to death if they can.
But make sure you keep paying taxes. So you can.
Somebody's got to pay for all this to be done to you.
Yeah, you can't have any of the access that you had before, where you could go to a meeting, where you could ask questions in real life, where you could attend these things. No, you can't do that anymore. But you still have to pay just as much.
Yep. And guess what? File a lawsuit. It's not going to be heard for 2 years in some cases. I'm told cases have been put back.
Chris Cantwell's case, which is not a lawsuit, it's a criminal case. His is number 6 for 2020. The 6th criminal case in 2020.
Wow. And he was arrested how long ago?
In January.
So
his is the second case to have been heard since the shutdown back in March.
Yeah, and usually a year is how long you get before you can file a speedy trial motion. Imagine that, a year in trail for something you didn't do, and you can't even file a motion for that first year on it.
And I couldn't even get into the courthouse in order to watch the supposed public trial. When I put in a motion to object to that, to demand my right to attend a trial as somebody who is a supposed member of the media, supposed member of the public, it was just simply denied. I'm not allowed to go inside this courthouse. I was not given any other option to watch this supposedly public trial. I was completely shut out from it.
Wow. Now, are they video streaming these things?
No, they're not, which is what I asked them. I said, if you're not going to let me in, then I should be able to watch this online.
Yeah. See, if nothing else, the defendant, if he wanted to, could motion and say his right to a speedy and public trial is being violated.
Yeah.
Because this trial is not public.
Well, if I could call the defendant up, I'd let him know that. Unfortunately, I have to wait for him to call me.
Well, we know somebody who's in contact with him, and I'll send a message to her.
Oh, really? Okay. He's in contact with me from time to time, but maybe not as often as this girl.
But could be.
So we go to your phone calls and thoughts here. Sean is in Idaho. The government, again, shutting down, making it itself less accessible than it's ever been, and now arresting people for not wearing masks. Sean, go ahead.
Yeah, so give you a little background on Moscow, Idaho. It's a pretty liberal town. It's been a pretty democratic run. And you guys were basically hitting it on the money when you were a little suspicious of why only a few of those people were arrested. And one of them...
by the way, you're really muffled. It's kind of hard to understand you.
All right, I was having issues with my headset, so probably what's going on. So one of the guys arrested was actually a Republican who's running against the current incumbent on the city council, county commission or something. And so it's kind of interesting that of the few people they arrested, and the other few were also with that guy, is a candidate running against the current mafia in power.
And, and it seems like he was in a group of a few hundred people. So why you think they targeted him specifically because he was the candidate?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, there were almost 200 people there, from what I heard. And Moscow also just extended their mask mandate to January 2021.
Right.
And there's actually a lawsuit going on down there now that they just started.
Yeah, there's a ton of lawsuits going on. I'm involved in one myself. Thank you, Sean, for the call tonight. Sorry about the phone quality, not so great. But I do appreciate hearing from you. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. I don't think we're going to be able to sue our way back to freedom. I don't think it works like that.
Well, there's
more coming
not
up.
Many options.
Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to DivvyProject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from DivvyProject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. DivvyProject.org. DIVI Project.org.
Every year, over 1 million fires burn in America. Fortunately, firefighters are on the job, saving life and property, and you can be a part of it. 7 out of 10 firefighters and emergency responders are volunteers. There's no typical firefighter. Anyone can volunteer to serve their community. Volunteering as a first responder is really about having the heart and drive to make a difference where it's needed most. Your community needs you. Are you ready to answer the call? Learn more and find local volunteer opportunities at makemeafirefighter.org.
Did you know you can support freedom of speech just by visiting shop.freetalklive.com? You'll see links to Walmart, Love Java, Newegg, and more. Every day, Free Talk Live is at the forefront of the liberty movement as the biggest liberty-oriented talk show in the world, giving you a platform to be heard on any topic. Get listener-only specials without doing anything other than an extra click. Visit shop.freetalklive.com. Use the links and buy what you'd be buying anyway. Take action now. Save and support freedom. Visit shop.freetalklive.com. It's shop.freetalklive.com.
News from news.bitcoin.com. Despite years of warnings about cryptocurrency, criminals prefer U.S. dollars for money laundering, study shows. Jim Rogers predicts end of U.S. dollar dominance. Macro strategist Raul Paul says Bitcoin beats gold in every way. New crypto, sushi, plummets around rumors of exit scam. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up what you want because thankfully you still have the freedom to speak in this new fear world that we have. Ian and nobody in the studio tonight. Toll-free number if you want to join us. It's 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And go ahead and plan now, presuming you still have the freedom to leave where you are in summer of 2021 to come out to New Hampshire at the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire at a campground called Rogers Campground. We're going to be there with what will hopefully be as many as a couple hundred other folks, maybe more than that. Who knows? You never know how many people are going to show up at Fork Fest. It's going to be year number 5 for the Decentralized Libertarian Camping Festival. This year was year 4, and it was fantastic. We had it after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, which is a longer-running festival in the same campground. And so it's going to continue to be afterwards in 2021. You can mark your calendar now for June 28th through July 4th of 2021, and we will look forward to seeing you at ForkFest. You can go to forkfest.party to learn more about the event there and get connected with other ForkFesters, present, past, and future, over on the ForkFest Telegram chat room, the ForkFest forum, and other unofficial options, because nothing's official with ForkFest because there's nobody who's the organizer. It's not a centrally controlled event. There's no board of directors. There's no ticket cost. So all you got to pay for is your campsite. So you can either do camping or RV site or a motel room. It's your call. There's different options there at Rogers Campground. But mark your calendar now. Start planning for June 28th through July 4th, 2021. If this COVID madness continues, there may not be anything else that you can do in 2021.
Yeah.
Because there hasn't been much this year.
There really hasn't. It's been an awful year.
We continue. Of course, your calls and thoughts are welcome. Let's continue on this story about Moscow, Idaho, where our caller just a moment ago, Sean, says that this is a particularly liberal corner of Idaho, and the police targeted 3...
There's a liberal corner of Idaho?
Apparently, the police there targeted 3 individuals at a local gathering, church gathering that was happening outdoors. They were singing hymns and Bible, psalms outside.
Oh, my God. The animals. No wonder they were arrested.
But apparently, for whatever reason, these 3 of the much larger crowd of mostly, if not completely unmasked people were arrested. Gabriel Wrench, Rachel Bonet, and Sean Bonet. Bonet is a local music teacher, saying to officers they refused to comply with whatever the officers ordered them to do, and they were arrested. The Moscow Police Department's daily activity log lists the reasons for the arrest as a, quote, public health emergency order violation. Footage of the couple's arrest shows the church body singing the hymn Praise God, from whom all blessings flow, as officers place the man and woman in handcuffs. Wrench is a co-host of Cross Politic, a Christian political talk show, and a candidate for county commissioner. He told officers as they walked him to the squad car, quote, you guys should not be doing this and doing this kind of crap for the mayor. This is embarrassing. You guys are stronger than this.
Yeah.
They didn't listen.
Well,
they took him, and
I think he overestimated their strength. But,
yeah.
Bullied for him for having that optimism.
Released the same day, Wrench appeared on his talk show to discuss the arrest, playing extended footage of his conversation with the officers. One of his companions is heard telling officers, quote, we backed you guys, unquote, at recent Black Lives Matter protests, advocating to defund the police. Quote, they didn't send you to enforce social distancing with Black Lives Matter to go do that when they said to defund you guys. We backed you guys. Well, it looks like the cops didn't care about your support.
Yeah, and why are you giving the support to cops? They've got support. They take as much as they need at gunpoint. It's the people that need support.
Well, that's the thing. These are the people who believe in the police. They believe in them so firmly that they will continue to believe that the police are going to do good things even after they've been targeted by them. That they will, they'll give them a break. Oh, well, we understand.
Yeah.
You're just doing your job.
Yeah, those are the guys who are going to have their dog shot during a red flag seizure and still thank the cop
them
for his service.
Right.
It's
sick. And that's why I say I wonder about the Kyle kid from Kenosha, Wisconsin, who is supposedly a big cop backer, who's now sitting in a jail cell for an indeterminate period of time awaiting trial. I don't think that they've bailed him out yet, or at least we haven't heard.
They said his bail at $2 million, so it might be a while.
Yeah. So I have to wonder, is he going to still be cheering the cops on, waving the thin blue line flag when he gets out of this jail cell?
I have a hard time believing it.
I hope not.
And yeah, he'll be a hero among the copsucker and the bootlicker militias, but he'll also be kind of a hero among the boogie boys and such, and maybe he'll find himself a better class of people to hang out with that won't do this sort of things to people.
Lewiston Tribune reported about 150 people attended the event organized by Christ Church, a Reformed evangelical church famous for its outspoken pastor who debated atheist Christopher Hitchens in the 2000s. The pastor's name, Doug Wilson. The paper quotes a Christ Church pastor as saying the event was a statement against the city's largely groundless laws. Reverend Ben Zorns, Christ Church pastor and organizer of the event, said the church hosts psalm or hymn events about once a month. And the Wednesday event was also a fitting way to show residents want to return to normalcy in the face of COVID-19. Quote, "We wanted to make a statement. We're ready to head back to normal," he said, claiming it's time to start pushing back against the largely groundless laws, referencing the mask order that are being passed and enforced without giving heed to what residents want. Well, look, it's past time to start pushing back. It would have been time when they first passed it.
We started pushing back the day.
That's right.
The day they locked us down, we came
out. That's what it takes. But unfortunately, we aren't enough. We are just a small group of libertarian activists here in Keene, New Hampshire. That's all we are.
But if you can get close enough to Keene, or if you're in somewhere near Keene, New Hampshire, and you want to come in tomorrow night and meet the guys from the show, we're going to be out there on the Common, having a beer and having a good time.
They stole the wine last week, though. The cops came up and jacked our wine.
Well, we're going to have to bring an extra box next time so we could just whip out our next one. Maybe get 4 small boxes instead of one big one.
Go. That's strategy right there.
Well,
That's good.
Trust me, I'm an engineer with epic skills and epic gear.
Not that the wine was any of ours, per se. It was just sitting there. Who knows who brought the wine or how it got there. But
I don't know, but it was delicious.
There was wine there. Wilson accused Moscow Mayor Bill Lambert of hypocritically flouting the city's mask mandate, writing about the arrests on his personal blog, saying that the city council extended the masking mandate into January despite the fact that the county, Latah County, has had 0 hospitalizations and there have been 0 deaths. We're not facing a medical emergency. Yep.
What is driving this? It can't be fear. It can't be terror. It can't be. Is it just sheer stupidity? Is it being ordered from on high? I
don't know.
I would like to know who paid these people to do that, or why would they do it if they weren't getting paid, because it's moronic.
Toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. You can take control of the airwaves. Share what's going on in your area. What are you involved in? If you want to do that, you can get on the air with us and talk, or you can also talk about anything that is on your mind. It is just story after ridiculous story of people having their freedoms just destroyed and trampled.
You ever feel like the band on the deck of the Titanic as the ship goes down, just chronicling it?
Free Talk Live is aired on nearly 200 radio stations throughout the week, and we've been doing this for almost 18 years. You can call in any evening from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern to talk about whatever's on your mind. Sure, you can waste your time on Facebook and reach dozens of surly posters, or you can call in with your issue and reach 3 surly hosts. Oh, and nearly 500,000 weekly listeners. The number is 1-855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE, as in freedom. Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to divvyproject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from divvyproject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. divvyproject.org. DIVI project.org.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agorist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agoristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agorist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agoristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agoristhosting.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to
platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can take control of the airwaves. All you got to do is dial in. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Man, I was talking with some other activists today about just how sad all of this is, how depressing it is to have so few people actually standing up for themselves, standing up for freedom in the United States. And you know, we're here in New Hampshire, the supposed live free or die state, and to just see so much obedience around us, it's disappointing. It really is. I expected more from the people of New Hampshire, and I wouldn't say that this place is any more outstanding than anywhere else. It's still outstanding in that there are a large number of voluntarists and liberty-minded anarchists and libertarians who are moving here and getting active here. So I still think there is a chance that we can have at more freedom in the future. But man, if we don't get more people together in this place to help each other out, then there's just no chance that things are going to get better. We have to get more people migrating here. And I've just been going through story after story. And these aren't, by the way, stories that I've been holding on to. Everything that we've been talking about tonight has come across my desk within the last 24 hours. So all of these arrests that we've been talking about, in fact, all of the show prep stories tonight, the people arrested singing hymns outside in Idaho, in Moscow, Idaho, the woman arrested for not wearing a mask in Ohio at a school football game, the teen party in Massachusetts, resulting in arrests of parents and a teenager and resulting in an entire school being closed for 2 weeks while people are quarantined. All of those stories just within the last 24 hours. I think all three of them actually within the last 12 hours. I got them today. And now here's another one. So here's another one. This one from Concord, New Hampshire. It's an update on a story we talked about 4 months ago. It was the Concord police targeting parents at a playground. Maybe you remember this story. There's actually video.
Bullies.
In this case. That's funny. Bullies kind of sounds like police, doesn't it?
It really does. It's the bullies.
Right. That's what they are. These masked gangsters showed up at this playground and tried to intimidate these parents. Showed up on the scene. They told the parents they're not allowed to have their kids on the playground equipment, and the parents told their kids to get off the playground equipment, and then they proceeded to have this interaction with the cops where they basically, one of the parents like kind of coughed at the police, and it was pretty funny, honestly.
Good God, they actually panicked. And did they arrest this person for assault?
Amazingly, they have not charged that particular parent, at least that from my understanding with it. But that's the news this week, though, is that after 4 or 5 months, been several months since this event had happened, they have now arrested the parents. 3 of the parents have been arrested and charged. I believe all of them charged with the same charges, but I'm not 100% on this. I know one of them was charged with criminal trespassing and disorderly conduct for taking her kid to the playground.
Wow. See, if there's anything that we can rally people for, it seems like it would be this.
Taking kids to the playground?
How would they like it if we showed up at their courthouse with 300 unmasked people and just surrounded the place?
You're not getting in. I mean, the doors are locked.
You're not getting in, but you can make it so that they have to walk a minefield of you to get out. Yeah. Which the anti-maskers aren't going to mind, but the pro-maskers aren't going to like it very much.
Yeah, I mean, I wish we could get 300 people to show up and do something like that, but it's hard. It's not easy to motivate folks like that. I mean, there were maybe 400 at the State House reopen events, but that happened back in April. I don't think they've had one of those in months.
Well, they haven't, but maybe it's time. Maybe it's time to put something together, because all the factions seem to call us. So maybe if we put something together, all the factions would show up again.
I don't know. Maybe.
It's worth a try.
When I put something together, we got 15 people.
Well, that was very early, though. Nobody even, they didn't know whether to poop or go blind at the point we did the first one.
So they arrested this lady. Her name is Rochelle Kelly, and she is actually I'm not going to say she's a free stater, but she's definitely hanging around with the liberty community. She knows taste. Yeah, she knows Jay Noon, one of our co-hosts, former co-host. Really good taste. Yeah, here on Free Talk Live. There's a fundraiser going for her legal defenses. That is linked on the story I posted about this on freekeen.com. She's taking on these charges. She's not going to take a guilty plea. She says she's going to trial. She's got an attorney. She's hired Free Stater attorney Dan Hines in this particular case. So she's going to fight.
Have we seen Dan do a criminal trial yet?
He took on the topless girls. He was their attorney.
Yeah, mixed results there.
Yes, he won once and he lost another, and you can't win them all. But in this case, she's facing 2 years in prison or jail in this particular case because they're Class A misdemeanors. Disorderly conduct charged as a Class A, and criminal trespassing charged as a Class A, even though she says she left when she was ordered to leave.
And that's sufficient reason to break the charge right there. Maybe they're looking for a plea. Maybe they're just looking to terrorize this poor woman.
Maybe. Normally when you get arrested for trespass, it's happened to us at the jail.
Repeatedly. They like to do that.
Right. Not because we were trespassing on private property, but because they didn't like us hanging out at the jail and protesting a few years back. But normally when you get arrested for a criminal trespass, it comes after somebody who has the managerial control over the property, somebody who is the person who can make a decision whether or not you can and can't be on the property. If they give you a warning and say, hey, you need to get off my property, and then you don't, you are then criminal trespassing.
And this is very interesting because the way the law is worded, it says if you enter or remain on any property where you don't have a right to be. And I beat one case. The original reason that I went onto the property is because I called my attorney and he told me, well, yes, they gave you a trespass order, but that's invalid. It doesn't mean anything. And then I called the jail and basically said, yeah, my name's Rich Paul. I want to come and pick somebody up. Is that a problem now? And I guess having no idea who I was, they said, no we're open. Come on in. And so I did beat the case.
That's right.
It actually ended in a hung jury, but they didn't bring it back. So if you, so basically a trespass order here is like Tinkerbell. It only exists if you believe in it.
Well, but it does exist to some extent if a man with a gun shows up and says you have to leave.
But let's say, for example, she says, I didn't believe he had the legal authority to tell me that. Then all of a sudden she still believes she has a legal right to be there and she's not guilty of trespassing.
And that's a good argument, and maybe they will make that in court. But generally, when they arrest you for trespassing, it happens in the moment.
Right.
It happens right then when the cop says you have to leave or you're trespassing. And then if you don't leave, they arrest you. In this case, they left. The cops left the scene in the video. Now, supposedly, they came back later, and I'm not sure at which point this video was taken, if it was where they came back or if it was the original visit. But supposedly, they came back and they told them they had to leave. And the woman says, Miss Kelly, says she left. So, again, it's just absolutely tragic what is happening here. She's trying to raise $10,000 for her legal defenses. And if she, what's better?
Because I'm going to send her $20, definitely.
Yeah,
or something.
And the cops love to pretend like they're doing this for everybody's safety. But are the kids more safe if their parents are in jail?
What about our safety? Does our safety not matter? The people who don't believe them.
Mm-hmm.
We have a right too.
Apparently we don't. I mean, rights, that's a great idea. Unfortunately, they don't really seem to exist.
Well, having a right and having it respected. Two different things.
With a MECTEC carbine conversion unit, you can turn an XD family Glock or 1911 handgun into a carbine rifle in seconds and have it shipped right to your door, no FFL required. Now, MECTEC is excited to announce our pistol carbine conversion unit. More compact with a 12-inch barrel and an arm brace, proving once again that MECTEC is the world's most versatile handgun accessory. For a limited time, go to handgunconversions.com. That's handgunconversions.com and use coupon code RADIO to receive $35 off any carbine purchase.
Fifth Season Financial is a licensed lender, not available in all states. Visit fifthseasonfinancial.com for details.
Are you or a loved one suffering financial hardship as a result of an advanced stage illness like cancer, Alzheimer's, or ALS? Are the financial side effects of your medical fight reducing your quality of life and causing stress and worry? Did you know that you could be eligible for a special loan to access funds locked up in your life insurance policy? Text the word LIVE to 411-411 now. Fifth Season may be able to help you address your financial needs through our Funds for Living program. This simple-to-use program helps you access value that is locked up in your life insurance policy by lending you money against the face amount of your policy. This loan is not like other loans where you need to make monthly payments, and it only gets repaid out of the proceeds of the life insurance policy. Visit fifthseasonfinancial.com/radio and get approved quickly. If you need financial help, have an advanced stage illness, and a life insurance policy, text LIVE to 411-411. Text the word LIVE to 411-411.
What if you could cut your heating bills this winter with your existing wood-burning fireplace and not spend thousands doing it? You can with Great Wall of Fire fireplace grates. Our U.S. patented made-in-America Wall of Fire grates increase fireplace efficiency, eliminate fireplace smoke problems, and come with a 30-day money-back guarantee. See our grates in action and get free shipping from walloffire.com or call 800-274-7364. Fireplace heat without fireplace smoke. walloffire.com.
Join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians from June 28th through July 4th for ForkFest 2021 at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. ForkFest happens the week after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and ForkFest is decentralized, which means no one is in charge. That also means there's no ticket cost. Just reserve your camping, RV site, or motel room with Rogers Campground for June 28th through July 4th. Where better to celebrate Independence Day than around other freedom-loving activists in the Shire? You can relax and enjoy the camaraderie of like-minded people, or you can create whatever experience or event you'd like others to have. If you're planning an event for ForkFest, be sure to let others know in advance. You can connect with fellow ForkFesters via the unofficial Telegram chat or the ForkFest forum. Links to those are on the unofficial website, forkfest.party. Mark your calendar for June 28th through July 4th, 2021. We'll see you at forkfest.party. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything you want in these remaining moments. We have time for you if you dial in right now. Our number is 855-450-FREE. What sort of crazy crackdowns are you seeing? Because we've just been going through story after story after story tonight. But I do have a different story that is not mask-related, because there is actually something else in the news we're talking about. And it is also about personal freedom, because that's what the mask thing is all about. It's your personal freedom to dress yourself how you want, to take whatever medical advice as seriously or as not as seriously as you wish, and to be able to live your life how you choose.
Because the Ninth Amendment, that incorporates all of the, or at least many of the natural rights that you have, including those referenced in the Declaration of Independence: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And those are very broad. Oh, and overthrowing the government.
Which one's the ninth? Is that the rights that aren't that are retained by the people?
Yeah, the ninth says that the enumeration in this Constitution of certain rights shall not be held to deny or disparage others retained by the people.
Right, so it doesn't have to say that you have a right to dress yourself in the Constitution.
Exactly. Yeah. The Ninth Amendment covers your right to wear a purple hat.
Exactly.
You know.
So, comment if you want. We've got more, of course, to say here, but there's been a major darknet takedown, and that definitely needs to get talked about. We haven't covered.
That's too bad.
It's really bad news.
Which market?
I'll tell you here in a moment. We will also do want to invite you to check out our satellite fundraiser, and I want to say thank you to the several individuals who have stepped up over the last couple of weeks to donate to that satellite fundraiser. It's on Patreon. It's $2 a month is what we ask for. You can do more than that, though, and certainly appreciate it. I've added a couple other tiers. There's a $4.20 tier, as well as a $13.37 tier. You can also contribute any arbitrary amount that you prefer to help us keep the satellites on the air over North and Central America and Sub-Saharan Africa, and we have raised almost enough money to keep one of the two satellites on the air, and so hopefully those of you out there who value that particular outreach, that particular activism, value the idea of these ideas being on the air 24 hours a day over huge swaths of the various continents, then please go to this website. It's fund.lrn.fm, F-U-N-D, fund.lrn.fm. You can contribute to the Patreon there. It's Ian and Nobody in the studio tonight. Wired Magazine reporting on what must be the largest takedown. In fact, they are claiming they're saying it's one of the largest. This sounds like the largest. 179 arrests spread across 6 countries from a dark net marketplace. Now, I guess maybe if you include the child porn sites, there may have been more arrests with like the Playpen arrests a couple of years ago. But as far as darknet markets, I've never heard of this many people being taken down from a darknet market. Usually it's just, usually when they take down a darknet market, they might bust the admins and maybe a handful of the biggest heroin dealers. And that's as far as it goes.
Yeah, and out of these guys, like, I've been on most of these markets. I've never seen kiddie porn there. I've never seen weapons there. I've never seen any of the things that you'd expect them to really freak out about.
Well, they don't like drugs, nobody. They certainly don't want people thinking for themselves or outside of the box, so they crack down real hard on this. 6 countries included 179 arrests, 500 kilograms of drugs were seized, $6.5 million in cash and crypto confiscated. And while it was announced this morning, this was a few days ago, Operation Disruptor traces its roots back to May 3rd of 2019. That's the day German police seized Wall Street Market, a popular underground bazaar that gave international authorities everything they needed to upend the dark web drug trade. It's unclear how big a dent Operation Disruptor will make in the long run. I'll tell you, not much. The dark web drug market tends to bounce back even after the high-profile collapses of marketplaces like Silk Road and Alphabay. But even if law enforcement is playing an eternal game of whack-a-mole, it's at least gotten extremely proficient at whacking. In the U.S., Operation Disruptor plays out across dozens of court documents and around 120 arrests. In Ohio, members of a group known as Pill Cosby, that's pretty funny.
Nice.
That's pretty funny. Were charged with mailing out over 1 million pills laced with fentanyl. Prosecutors in D.C.
Laced with fentanyl as if it was hidden in there. If it was fentanyl, that's probably what they were selling.
Prosecutors in D.C. allege David Brian Pate concealed thousands of OxyContin, Xanax, and morphine pills inside souvenir maracas. A pharmacist in Nebraska allegedly planned to firebomb a local competitor after stealing their opiate supply in service of what officials say was his booming narcotics trafficking business. What these cases, along with dozens of arrests across Europe, have in common is the investigations largely stemmed from last year's Wall Street Market takedown. At the time, German authorities arrested the site's alleged operators and 2 of its most prolific vendors, which is typically how it goes. A couple vendors get busted, the admins get busted, and that's it. Europol confirmed to Wired today it was also able to recover the Wall Street Market back-end server, providing investigators with an invaluable trove of evidence. Quote, it provided us with all the information which led to the identification of those arrested today. We collated the information and then sent out what we call intelligence packages to all the concerned countries. Basically, it's information or documents where we say, look, we know this person in your country has done this. You may want to open an investigation. He says more arrests are to come.
Saved all of that intelligence and given one country the intelligence to just end the war on drugs. Because this is stupid.
Well, yeah, it's stupid, but this is what they do. I mean,
it's irritating.
This has been going on for our entire lifetimes.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter that the drug dealers on the dark net are actually doing what's essentially harm reduction, and they're helping people survive because they're actually sending out the drugs that people are ordering rather than adulterated, questionable street dealer products, which half the time aren't what you think you're going to get. Yeah. Whereas if you buy from an online darknet marketplace, almost every time you're going to get exactly the product that is being advertised.
I have never had anything show up that was not what I expected.
I have seen multiple things actually sent to a drug laboratory that were purchased on the darknet markets, and 100% of the time they were 100% what they said they were going to be.
Wow.
Yes.
And does that include strength? Do you know? Or?
Yes, 100%.
Wow.
They were pure, whatever it was that they were advertised to be.
And they were pure and they were at the right potency.
That's correct. They weren't diluted or whatever.
That's impressive.
There was no other adulterants in there. Well, they say here they announced as a package today the arrests in the U.S. have trickled in over the last several months. In a press conference Tuesday morning, DEA acting administrator specifically called out Arden McCann, allegedly known as RC Queen, DRX Xanax, and other aliases across numerous dark web markets. Arrested earlier this year, he had allegedly shipped over 10.2 kilograms of fentanyl and over 300,000 counterfeit Xanax pills every month. Now, just to be clear, when they say counterfeit, they don't necessarily mean that they were fake.
Yeah, it's the right drug. It's just pressed by somebody else. It's not made by the same manufacturer. Because, of course, if you're manufacturing something that's illegal anyway, why pay the patent fees?
Exactly. So the way they make it sound, though, is like he was selling something that wasn't Xanax. He was selling the chemical that Xanax is just not made by that company.
Yeah.
Quote, in some ways, this is the perfect storm combination of traditional criminal activity of all shapes and sizes merging with this more sophisticated technology, said the FBI director Christopher Wray. But the point of today's announcement is it doesn't matter where you go to try to do it or how you try to hide it. We're coming for you.
Man, I will be so happy if one day the drug warriors are tried for crimes against humanity and hung by the neck until dead.
Well, that wouldn't make me happy, nobody, but...
It would make me happy because I would be safe for the first time in my adult life.
I'd rather see them just stop. And
that would make me even happier, I think, but hung would... There's something to be said for it.
I'd like to see them come out and admit that they were wrong.
And smoke a bowl with us.
There you go. Well, I actually did that with Barry Cooper.
Yeah, you smoked a bowl with Barry Cooper?
Dude,
I've always wanted to meet him face by face. We're Facebook friends, face to face. We're Facebook friends. We talk. We send messages back and forth. But I've
You must
never...
have not been at the Liberty Forum. It was probably the year before you moved. That's probably why. He was a speaker.
That's why. We got to get him back. He rocks.
I don't think he's
not going to come back into the country while this mess is going on.
You're going to have to go to Mexico.
No, he's not.
You're gonna have to go
well,
down there.
that's kind of, I'm thinking coming maybe anyway, because this is getting bad up here.
Well, I don't know if it's getting any better down in Mexico. If you're down there and you want to share how the COVID craze is in your country, please feel free. But in this particular case, this is tragic what they've done here at the darknet market. And what it sounds like, and what I'm going to guess here, is because they got the back-end server access, they got all the files that were on the server, they probably found that people were sending unencrypted messages to one another. So if you're going to be on darknet markets, always encrypt your messages back and forth on darknet markets.
The software should just do that.
It's rule number one. You should do it yourself, though. Take the time to learn how. We'll see you tomorrow night. freetalklive.com.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had got involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream for people to use it for everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that is as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
Do you have a WordPress website running WooCommerce and want to accept cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Dash, Bitcoin Cash, and Bitcoin SV? Now you can easily enable crypto payments from your customers by adding the AnyPay plugin to your WordPress site. Just visit AnyPayInc.com and set up your account by entering your cryptocurrency wallet addresses in the admin. Then enable the AnyPay plugin in your WooCommerce. That's it. Now your website takes crypto like Bitcoin thanks to AnyPayInc.com. AnyPayInc.com. What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock is next after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Executive order signed. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Trump outlines his vision for health care overhaul.
President Trump traveled to North Carolina to lay out his vision for affordable health care and lower prescription drug prices.
The first pillar of my plan is more choice for the American patients.
The Trump administration has joined a lawsuit aimed at invalidating the Affordable Care Act signed into law by President Obama. That law prohibits insurers from denying coverage for pre-existing conditions. President Trump signed an executive order making it government policy to protect patients with pre-existing conditions. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says that executive order is not worth the paper it's signed on. In Washington, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Tonight, the president was campaigning in Jacksonville, Florida, while Joe Biden is prepping for next Tuesday's debate. A new Fox poll has Biden leading President Trump in Nevada by 9 points, Ohio by 5, and Pennsylvania by 7 points.
The Fox poll found more voters in each state trust Biden to do a better job on COVID and picking a Supreme Court justice, but trust President Trump to do a better job on the economy.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. In all 3 states, Biden is more supported by non-white voters, women, and whites with a degree. President Trump has said he will name his choice to the Supreme Court Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern, and then the confirmation process begins.
Expect to see the Supreme Court nominee start making the rounds, visiting with senators from both parties, hoping they will vote to confirm her. Then her nomination will go to the Senate Judiciary Committee, chaired by South Carolina Republican Lindsey Graham.
Fox's Mike Emanuel. The Pac-12 has set a November 6th start date for a 6-game football regular season after the Big Ten reversed its decision to postpone its season until spring due to concerns about COVID-19. America is listening to Fox News.
For over 20 years, millions of customers have trusted Blinds.com to update their homes. Because Blinds.com makes it easy to get custom blinds that'll give your windows a high-end look without the high-end price. Whether you like to do it yourself, need help with design, or prefer measure and install services, they keep it simple with easy online ordering and free shipping right to your door. New window treatments are a simple way to really benefit the look and feel of your home. And Blinds.com will guide you every step of the way with free online design help. And if you're nervous about trying them, don't be. Blinds.com has over 30,000 5-star customer reviews, and they guarantee the perfect fit for your windows, whether you do it yourself or have them measure and install everything for you. Go to Blinds.com now to take advantage of this week's special savings on interior blinds, shades, shutters, and even outdoor shades. Rules and restrictions may apply.
A bipartisan group of lawmakers pushing for Congress to remain in session to continue to work on COVID-19 relief.
In a letter to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, 16 Democrats and Republicans wrote, "Our constituents do not want us home campaigning while businesses continue to shutter and families struggle to pay the bills." Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy told Fox and Friends,
"Now we have what is called a discharge petition. If 218 members of Congress simply sign the discharge petition, we can have a vote on the floor without Nancy Pelosi stopping it."
There are 198 Republicans in the House. It's unclear if enough Democrats would be willing to buck the House Speaker. Rachel Sutherland, Fox News.
Lawmakers in Britain have come up with a way to help people who lost pay during the pandemic.
Britain's finance minister detailing a new plan to help workers hit by the pandemic.
I know people are anxious and afraid and exhausted.
Rishi Sunak saying workers whose hours are cut will have their wages topped up by the government.
LRN.FM's free-to-air satellite feeds blanket most of 2 continents. It was my goal to put our channel there so people without internet could receive our programs and feed pirate radio stations. As our contract with our satellite provider is coming up for another 3-year renewal, I have to consider calling it quits. It's rare that we get feedback or support from our satellite users. We started a fundraiser a few years ago, and though there are a bunch of great contributors to it, as of this recording, it covers 15% of our monthly satellite costs. Please email lrn@lrn.fm and tell me how you use the satellite feed. Better yet, chip in at fund.lrn.fm. The costs aren't the issue. We can afford them, but why continue something not valued by the market? Want to help? You can join our satellite fundraiser for just $2 a month at fund.lrn.fm. If we raise enough to keep both channels on the air, awesome. If we raise more, I'll add more channels. If not, we can shut them down and go internet only. It's up to you. Thank you for your support. Fund.lrn.fm.
A new study finds most high school graduates are woefully unprepared for high school, and a bag of flour has a slave auction on its front. This is the Onion Week in Review. This week, Secretary of Labor Thomas Perez unveiled plans to boost the nation's struggling job market by giving every unemployed American a self-serve yogurt shop, saying that the frozen yogurt business model is robust, profitable, and that they've pretty much exhausted other options. Perez explained that owners will be responsible for stocking their own topping bars with items such as Oreo crumbles, minced kiwi, cashew cashews, and gummy bears. Estimates indicate the country will need to increase daily consumption of frozen yogurt by approximately 2.3 gallons per person in order for the new stores to remain solvent. And in this week's local news, something is apparently going on between a mom and her friend. In other news, Taco Bell warns its employees against ever exposing their skin to its food. A sad man tears 2 bananas off of a larger bunch, and a new report finds everything you've ever wanted has been right in front of you all along.
This is the Onion News Network. And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Today, let us make them remember. We are not afraid!
Declare your independence of me, Ernest Hancock, here. Now we're in Lancaster up at Rogers Campground, switching out RVs and stuff, going to Bangor, and they're still working on the Love Bus, and maybe next week, maybe, damn it. But the colors are changing. Get the drone out and give you some man. It's awesome. Let me tell you real quick. Let's get right to the show. We're going to have in the third hour, of course, Trump Report, Dr. Frank Tambury. That'd be fun. Jerry Day in the second hour. He was a very popular podcaster, video YouTube guy during the Revolution, big video leading guy. He's going to be doing the video for the Red Pill at Jekyll Island with Red Pill with G. Edward Griffin, and he wants to talk